Why should you join the ACG YouTube membership? Listen, it helps the channel. Sure, I could pretend that some company's pre-built PC is awesome, even if it just accidentally happens to be that I got it from them in the last 3 weeks. You don't want that. I could also open up an OnlyFans, which just me naked eating Uncrustables and rubbing my beard against the mic. No one wants that either, because it'd be terrifying. For $5, you can become a YouTube member. I'd probably save you that by warning you away from Alakine's gun, or maybe Gene Rain, or maybe you watch the reviews. I don't know why, because they suck, but maybe you do. If you join now, we don't have to worry about those things. You also get access to the Patreon when it comes to the Discord. So become a YouTube member now, before I start having to put surprise oral sex-looking thumbnails on my reviews. And trust me, no one else wants that. So power up with ACG. Besides, it's for sure better than those POS earbuds YouTubers try to sell you. Why should you join the ACG YouTube membership? Listen, it helps the channel. Sure, I could pretend that some company's pre-built PC is awesome, even if it just accidentally happens to be that I got it from them in the last 3 weeks. You don't want that. I could also open up an OnlyFans, which just me naked eating Uncrustables and rubbing my beard against the mic. No one wants that either, because it'd be terrifying. For $5, you can become a YouTube member. I'd probably save you that by warning you away from Alakine's gun, or maybe Gene Rain, or maybe you watch the reviews. I don't know why, because they suck, but maybe you do. If you join now, we don't. If I run out halfway through, yeah, I was like, is that heavy enough to get me through the first 15 minutes? What I was going to say prior to starting this, I feel like sometimes life's a little series of just mini strokes. That's just the way it is. Like, I'll be thinking of something, I can't remember the word, then you can remember the word out of the blue, and then you'll wake up and suddenly a music will be in your head that like you haven't heard in 50 years, and you're like, dude, is blood just consistently being cut off and rerouted in your brain to these weird points? And that's why half of the time we fuck up. You know, how many times have you done the same thing? Like there's a cup in front of you and you're like, I'm going to grab that cup, which I have done for fucking 40 years. And my ancestors have trained me with DNA, the ability to grab that cup for thousands of years, and you fucking push it over onto
you malfunction.
Dude, it doesn't make any sense, man. I mean, one time I peed on my hands, and I was like, seriously, we haven't been peeing on our hands for like 2,000 years. Like, well, maybe we have. Some of you have. Anyway,
we've been selected.
We've been selectively peeing on our hands.
Succeed at this.
Yeah. My success rate is actually quite low for some of this.
I mean, our life is really just a collection of functional moments in between strokes.
That's what it feels like. It does, dude. Because I do wonder why that memory pops in, an unrelated memory. Like, you know, it's not about a game. It's not about whatever. You're just like, dude, or a smell. Or just, and it's never a memory that makes any sense to everything else. So it's not like an algorithm where sometimes you can track it and go, I got the Hoover vacuum ad because I was doing this, and I, you know, I checked out Black & Decker items online. So it sort of makes sense. Instead, you're just like, Pat Benatar, Love is a Battlefield. Why the fuck did that come up? Like, that doesn't even make any sense. Like, it's just randomly just popping in my head. Sup, everybody? Hope you guys are all having an absolutely awesome week. We're gonna, I mean, basically, I think Fantasyland you directly into your weekend if it's already started this way. We're gonna Narnia this bitch up. Just saying, things are gonna things are gonna get weird. Just joking. Well, I mean, they probably will. Hope you guys are all having an absolutely excellent week and have good plans for the weekend, actually. Maybe doing something cool, going to the movie. Did you do anything this week that was not work inspired, or was it a work week where it was just like...
It was a solid work week. I came back to work after my holiday, so just catching up on stuff and focusing on that. My workouts, played some games during the week, some Space Marine 2. A little bit of Wu Chang.
You did play Space Marine too. Yeah. How was that? Was that fun?
Yeah, it was quite fun. I was gonna hit you up, but the times never
that's why
aligned.
I'm being a dick right now. Because you said
I felt it. No,
I installed it, and I'm in the chat. I'm in voice chat, and all of a sudden I go, "Motherfucking Johnny's playing Space Marine. He told me to install that. You know what the fuck?"
Yeah,
I'm just joking.
Yeah, I got sequestered by 2 other friends who were like super hyped to play as well. But yeah, I'm ready. I'll hit you up. I'll have my people talk to.
I don't have people. You'll have your people talk to me because you may be a king in your fucking world with helpers and assistants and people who do your toes and wash your balls. I got nobody, man. I got a dog.
Dude, I have 3 degrees of people before it gets to me.
Exactly.
I have a hierarchy.
Exactly, man. I don't even smell bad until 3 people below me have, man. What are you talking about? Let's see. Gonna go see Weapons in the theater after work. Yeah, I tried to. I think it's our anniversary today, but for our anniversary, I wanted to go to Weapons, and that didn't fly. But I think we're gonna go see.
That didn't qualify
Fantastic
as an
Four.
Anniversary.
Yeah, I want to see Weapons bad, man. I want to see it really bad. Like, I don't really want to go to the theaters very much, but like that one I would love to see. But we'll see Fantastic Four, which I heard was pretty good.
Yeah.
Go sit down, eat some. I mean, half of it's just so I can, anything eaten within a movie theater has no calories. That's the rule. So I'm going to go and...
Okay, but do you take a soda or no? Because then you might have to pee.
No, I'll definitely drink one. Yeah. I mean, I do check the length of the movie, though, to make sure, do I need to take...
You're like, is this friendly?
So, by the way, I can pee in the space between the end of the last trailer and the full beginning of the movie as long as I go quick, because most movies start with a segue or some camera pan and shit because they think we're all pinky up cinematographers when really we just want to see sex and people getting smashed. But yeah, I'll definitely prep ahead of time. It's not a long movie though, right? Did you see that or Superman?
I haven't seen those yet. Actually, I missed those in the cinema, so I'm waiting for the streaming.
Yeah, I don't think they're very long. I'm pretty sure I had read that they're not super long. And dude,
plus you're trained, man. You got your urethra is trained to sustain
we've done
5-6 hours of monster drinking.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. It's just another 2-liter that I fucking shoved up in there, duct taped one end of it, and I'm like, second bladder, baby, here we go. Anyway, yeah, so it is a gaming podcast. Good. So, at some point we're going to have to talk about games. Did you play anything other than Space Marine? Or was that mostly what you
played? A little bit of Wu-Chang. A little bit of League. That's really about it, actually. Yeah, so Space Marine has been the chief part of it.
Was that the chief because you played it a bunch, or was that the chief because you only played a little bit of it, but you didn't play a lot of games? While you're talking, I'm going to let my dog out. He's been ill all day, so I just want to make sure he gets outside. For it.
Yeah, it's... no, I've played a fair bit, I would say. I returned to it, and I had a couple friends that we were kind of grinding a similar thing in the game. And they've got this new kind of leveling tier where you can reset your level from 25 to 1. Mm-hmm. But the kicker is you get a new prestige perk.
Oh, okay.
So you choose from 3 really strong perks, and then you have to level your character back up to 25. And then you get to do that again. You can do that up to 3 times to get 3 prestige perks. And that shows on your character. So when you go into a mission, people see if your character is, let's say, prestige 1 or 2. Mm-hmm. And this ties directly into the new difficulty as well. I think so. Back in the day, they added lethal, which was one above ruthless.
Yeah.
And then I think they added even one crazier difficulty above that now. And so that one is meant for people who are like fully kitted out, prestige 3 maxed out, they full sweaty and know everything. Yeah, so right. It's
know exactly when every enemy's coming out, stuff like that. It's hard to it's like, well, actually I'm glad you ended up playing with some others, because dude, it's like all that sounds cool if you have the time, but it sounds exactly opposite cool if you don't, like the more you talked about it, the more my interest was like,
because if you don't have the time and you're being told you have to reset your level,
you're just 1. Bumping into difficulty at that point.
Yeah, it's cool though. They added 3 new PvE missions compared to back when we played, like around release time. So there are total 9 missions now in PvE. And you have, private lobbies, a kind of training area in the barge. Mm-hmm. So lots of quality of life stuff. They also added a research section in the base. So just like you have the armory where you go in to set up your armor and your perks, you also have this research station where based on stuff you do in the game, these will be different achievements, kill X Tyranids or ultra enemies or extremis enemies. All these things are like, basically you get points for each of these achievements and tiers of achievements. And you have certain research lines that you start unlocking based on these. So these points you get, you can use them to then progress in this other new system that will give you a bunch of coins, new cosmetics, and different stuff like that. It's mostly cosmetic, just so you know. So it's not like skills. Yeah, but they've added a good number of things in there.
Sorry. While you're talking, I'm hearing dogs fighting and my sick ones come. You don't sound good, dude. You okay? Sorry, he's getting old, so he's having all kinds of
Yeah.
You got to get accustomed to the dog's old and new sounds. It's like as he's gotten older, he started making sounds that when
that's a new sound.
When they're younger, you're like, dude, he'll be fine. And then when he's older, you're like, wait a minute, is he gonna be fine, or is that the last spit? Is that his last little last little moment? I think. Do you hear that?
I didn't.
Oh,
no.
I think what he did was he tried to chaw down a bone that was too big for that damn head of his. I think he got a hold of a bone. You okay? Yeah? All right. Anyway, sorry about that. Yeah, when it comes to that game, I'll probably jump back in. I was wanting also to jump back into the zombie one they made. The World War Z.
World War Z.
Right? Yeah. I wanted to jump back into that one too. But new games this week. Well, what have I been playing, actually? Let's see. Played a little bit of Battlefield 6. Got Secure Boot up and running, or whatever that's... Yeah, is that what that one's called? Yeah. Got the little anti-piracy thing turned on. Did you see that was not only asked for by Battlefield, but the Call of Duty the very next day was like, got to put it on for us, too, in the future.
We need that, too.
Yeah. I'm not too bothered by it. I mean, that's sort of, it's already been in all the systems. So it's just like, obviously, if you're dual booting, if there's some other things that a person who like me or you, where we might be tinkering with stuff, might cause an issue. But overall, I'm like, it is what it is. It's not that big of a deal, especially because that's even outside of games. That's actually a thing coming up with all the hardware devices, trying to get a second layer of sort of like encryption in there to stop programs from being able to run. However...
is that for cheating, do you think?
It is. And however, they did exactly what I thought. Well, they did a pretty good job. I'll say that. They did a pretty good job. They said, hey, you need to do this. It's so that we can keep a handle on cheaters. They didn't say so that there will be absolutely zero cheaters. So, of course, a certain website this morning was like, there are cheaters in the beta, even though, and I'm like, yes, we get it. It's like, of course, there will always be somebody who's able to get into your video game. This isn't fucking NORAD, right? It's not like something that, it's not your ex-girlfriend's heart that no one can get into. This is like a thing. It's a game. There will still, there will still be people who are able to hack it. What your desire is to make it more difficult, to push people out of it. But Call of Duty's doing it. And dude, I think we should just sit down and basically prep for every game, in any game with a multiplayer, method starting to do it, because Call of Duty has been updating all of their Ricochet, I think, is their anti-cheat. And then of course there's the anti-cheat for this. There's like 6 or 7 anti-cheat systems out there for multiplayer. Yeah.
Have you heard about Vanguard?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it's in too many other games. League uses that, and it's quite invasive. Like, that thing is running every time you boot your computer, all the time.
Yeah, they're rootkits. I mean, that's their rootkits to stop rootkits. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they are. It's like,
I don't know why. Root sounded a bit sexual. I don't know why.
No, I was just saying that they are pretty invasive. It's just the step you have to take to play those games. And
because it's like a watchdog, right? So it does, by definition, need to run at a kind of foundational layer.
And you're just constantly, I'm just my assumption. I'm sure there's a shit ton of people. Now there's script kiddies using AI, writing codes for getting into games. You know, it's just like the constant battlefield. You'll never win out. You know, the only way you'd win out is if you had some kind of overseer AI that looked at every frame that was ever processed and verified that the frame prior had,
and then you can have
outwards,
like enemy AIs that are looking at that and then, you know, learning on that. And there's always the escalation war.
Maybe that's why I'm not bothered a lot of times by this. I'm not even bothered by the sheer precedent, but maybe it's because I've been so accustomed to cheating AI in video games that I'm like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. But yeah, I was pretty surprised to see Call of Duty announce it. Actually, I guess I wasn't. You know how, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit later, but you know how Xbox is like, okay, we've decided Forza is going to come on PlayStation, blah, blah, blah is going to come. And then Sony a couple months ago was sort of, you know, they're like, well, we are looking at other stuff. It's just PC though. And then the LinkedIn account pops up that's like, we want to hire an Xbox, you know, a person who oversees Xbox stuff. And I got to tell you, do you know what's really a mind screw is when I woke up and got an email from a company that was a competitor that's offering the game that was on the competitor's system to review.
Yeah.
That's when you know the world has turned topsy-turvy. And it started with, I think it was the MLB, the show. I think that one popped off, and I remember going, oh, that's a weird thought that, like, there's a, you know, that's a Sony game, and everybody claimed it was the IP stuff, but people behind the scenes were like, I mean, for sure that's a good part of it, but it's like, that's not it, man. You ain't seen nothing yet. And now what was it, just a couple days ago, Sony, I think it was their CEO said something along the lines of, you know, we're less of a platform system now and more of a software. We're sort of moving towards that. And it makes sense because platforms are becoming sort of agnostic. There's some rumors about the Xbox and the hardware there that would be sliced almost like a large language model where it's sliced and you sort of have a little bit like what you'd see with a normal Intel family of chips, where the handheld has one chip that's identical to the larger chip. It's just it has blah, blah, blah turned off. But the extension of chip line is going to be much larger, supposedly, where you have like a much larger gulf in power. So you can have your super ultimate, maybe your Xbox XXXL, and then you have your super low end, which would be like your next handheld that's actually officially from them. Yeah, it's an interesting time, man. It's very weird to wake up and get an email like that, though. I mean, it's like Sega leaving the market. That was a big deal. I remember when Sega left the market and you were just like, oh shit, man, Dreamcast is done. You know, like we're now. Did
it leave a big Sega shaped
hole in my heart?
Hole in the. Yeah.
There's a hole in my heart. Yeah, it did. It did because Sega was, I have a tendency to pick they're not underdogs, but it might be newcomers to the field or something, which is weird that I didn't like genuinely love Sony because they were technically a newcomer and they got sort of screwed over when they first came in. But I had a TurboGrafx 16. They're not around anymore in that form. I had a Dreamcast, Sega Saturn, and then Xbox. And Xbox will still be around because there's actually some plans for some stuff that's special there. But it's just like, it's weird, man. It was weird, though, when we saw Rabbids and Mario. Like, dude, you can't tell me we didn't see a lot of this shit. Like, we talked about this like 5 years ago when I was like, I'm already hearing, you know, multiple people at third-party studios going, man, this exclusivity thing, that was pre-COVID when I was hearing that. That was before, dude, it might have been before you were on the podcast, that there were already companies going like, this doesn't seem sustainable, especially digital, because then you don't have a separate shipping SKU. You don't have to worry about this needs to fill a certain slot on a storefront that's physical, that's 50 PlayStation copies, 50 Xbox copies. It's like we have digital now, which allows us to just package it up, Nintendo, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, it's gonna be weird because Helldivers comes out soon too, man. For Xbox, like that's a mind fuck. Like the idea that Helldivers is coming out on the Xbox that definitely is a mind screw. Are you going to do Helldivers? Because you did it on the PlayStation. Are you going to jump back in?
Yeah, it's unclear at this point. I kind of view Space Marine as my equivalent game to Helldivers. It's got a little bit of a similar
vibe to it.
And just like the group of friends and stuff seem to align a bit more for Space Marine.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say I definitely have a group of friends like third-person shooter. Yes. First-person shooter, no. Or sometimes there's overlap, but like platforming,
True.
Among Us or whatever, no. You sort of have to section them off. But looking at Battlefield, I've enjoyed my time with it. It runs quite well. It's exactly what we thought, though. It's exactly what we thought. It is not the trailers. It's not the Michael Bay fake setup trailers. It is a shooter. It is a shooter. And it's like the moment you go in and don't think it's going to be the greatest thing ever, it's because it's not. In fact, it is solidly. So I will say this. Have I played 10,000 hours of it? No. But I will say that it would be quite difficult for me to feel that somebody would have an adequate argument that this game felt like it was doing a bunch that was new. In fact, I would say it is quite safe. What isn't safe is, of course, destruction. So you get to see that. But when you look at the game as a whole and what it's offering, honestly, what it feels like is a great competitor to Call of Duty, doing its own thing. Probably going to appeal to a lot of people who like Call of Duty because it is the new thing and it's not bad, which has been the unfortunate pattern for Battlefield for a long time. But I can definitely say, playing it, I was like, oh, you know what? This is really safe. As just a game goes, it is a very, very safe title. Not bad. Not bad. Pretty enjoyable. Some fun shooting. Graphically, it runs better than I think almost anybody expected, but I was trying to inform people that, like, when you look at what it's doing, there are some long distance areas and stuff like that, but it's not necessarily doing something that would make you go, that is impossible. I cannot believe. What I noticed last night when we were all streaming was that I heard a lot of people saying this runs surprisingly well. And that's awesome. And that was pretty much it. There wasn't like this should be impossible, because there's nothing you really see in the demo that makes you go, wow. It's more like this is a solid demo, and it's a solid replication of what we're probably going to experience, which I think is the best. I think that's the best way to do it. If you got some surprises, hey, throw them out during the official release. But why throw them out now when they're not ready or something? What were you going to say?
Right. Like the fundamentals of the classes and the moment-to-moment, the shooting, and the performance also has to be good. It sounds like all of those things are in good shape.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the only thing is one of the biggest questions that it's only going to be answered a year from now, or 6 months from now, is what's the longevity of a arena-based shooter anymore? Like, what is it? I mean, is it long?
Even Call of Duty,
yes,
which is maybe the leader, right?
Yep.
In this, is it are people still playing? I'm kind of out of touch with Call of Duty these days.
Yeah, sure, people are still playing, but they're still playing. I think just like when we saw Halo and Gears lose their luster kind of situation, where you look at them now and you're like, I remember when, whatever the Hobbit guy's name was, showed up and got an Xbox because he wanted to play Halo, and it was all covered in the news, and there were a bunch of people at Xboxes walking out of fashion stores and shit. 99% of it paid, I'm sure, but a lot of those people are big Xbox fans. But it was a big deal. It was new. It was whatever. Now, not so much. It's like each game hits, but it hits in its own segment, and they're doing great numbers. They're doing like really good numbers for the beta, but it's like the longevity of any one thing, it's not necessarily up for question anymore. It feels like longevity is really, I felt, usually either the old games that are already out or the surprise game that comes up and no one knows what to expect of it. Like even if it's a AAA game, something pops up that's surprising, and the surprise ends up being really good. People dive into it, like an Among Us or something like that. I mean, PUBG is still like the number 2 played game, dude. That should indicate like where we are with longevity in titles. Like it's pretty nuts to see a game like that, just continually crunching away for years. Does anybody in chat play that damn game? Does anybody in the world play that game that I know of? I feel like that's got to be an alternate world who plays that. Because, I mean, like, can you look it up? Can you look up Steam? I'm going to let this dog out. Can you look up Steam top 10 concurrent? Because this will blow your mind. I think it's like Battlefield's like number 4, but Battlefield's doing quite well. But, dude, your game is on there, of course, right? Well, that's the other thing. Your game is on there. How old is League? Like 600 years old?
Well, League is not on the Steam thing. Dota 2 is, and still is the top 2 all-time peak concurrent at 1.3 million. And BF6 is coming up with 334,000.
Yeah, you're right. It was
peak.
Dota. Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. And by the way, it's still very high at almost 300,000, like 24-hour peak.
Damn, that's nuts. Good for them.
It's popping, man. Because there were so many complaints in the last Battlefield. You know, it's engendered a whole generation of memes of like people disliking that game, right? From like technical issues to a bunch of missing things from other Battlefield games. I don't remember all of them, but from small things like, I think, not being able to manually attach stuff to weapons, to bigger things like absence of, I think, customizability in some of the loadouts, not good variety of maps. Obviously, like I think there was no campaign, or if there was, it was kind of a joke. That's another thing I want to see on this one. Is it going to have a cool story to go through, even if it's short?
Yeah, I think they said 6 to 8 hours, which is fine. Nothing wrong with 6 to 8 hours, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense.
It's funny how that's become something they have to state. That, you know, I think it's ever since Call of Duty set that bar so low, they now have to say, listen, we're coming in at this level.
Yeah, don't worry, guys. Don't worry, guys. I think that the 6 to 8 is also, that's pretty low, but it does feel like we've become accustomed to it. You know, 6 to 8 has sort of become the de facto, like, that's fine now kind of thing. I don't know if it's fine. It's just I've definitely noticed that's like become, I mean, 8 is, I think 8's good for me. I would like 8, you know, because then you can sort of do the, to me, $10, let's say you do it this way. I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying you could. If you were like $10 per hour, 6 hours, it's like, yeah, that's okay. But you start getting 8 or 10.
You probably still wouldn't buy it for the campaign only.
Sorry.
Right?
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. Sorry, guys. A delivery just came. I mean, the campaign. Well, the campaign's what I'd enjoy the most, but the multiplayer is what I'd play with you guys and stuff. You know. Well, I mean, I would if you didn't leave me in the lurch. Just all depends, right? Come here, guys. Yeah.
I'm gonna get shit for that.
Jeff Bosman, $5 super chat. What's up, brothers? We made it to another podcast. Make my Friday. Oh, makes my Friday. I thought you were challenging us. I read that as a challenge. Make my Friday, dude. Deliver for me.
Go ahead.
And I will review you later, which, by the way, I wouldn't mind. It's actually pretty funny. Somebody was asking why I don't have a review for Mafia. Didn't get Mafia, man. It was, I asked, was told I was, but I was I think almost like 6-7 weeks ago, I was already under the opinion that because of the time and the type of game, a story-based game, they were going to be either very selective or insanely restricted down to like journalists, which from what I could tell, that's exactly what happened. Is they restricted it to just written stuff so that no video could leak story on accident, which, hey, I get it. You know, it's pretty hard to leak an entire story with a single picture in a web article, but it's much easier if you're cutting 60 minutes of, footage and you accidentally put it in. But yeah, that's why I didn't get a chance to review it. Doubling down now. Make my Friday, boys. $10. Oh, man. Well, you got to be here the entire time. You can't be petering off because at the end, we're going to have a science talk. What are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about simulation theory. And if it can actually,
I got a cool,
how deep we can go.
I had a cool discussion for us to get into about that.
Okay, cool. Beyond what we had already talked about, a deeper one.
kind of picking up on a similar thread that we touched on.
Yeah, those are always fun to have at the end of this. With Battlefield, I will also say this, and I'd like to hear anybody who's played Battlefield. One of the first things I noticed with this one is that HUD is egregious. It's egregious, man. Is it huge? Yeah, it is like, and I noticed it more when watching other people play. I mean, I did notice it when I played, so I was looking for it, but we jumped in last night and there were like 6 people streaming it, and I was looking going, fuck, man. If you take all the parts of that and you put it up on one side of the screen, that's like 50% of your screen covered by, and luckily you can make some of them go away, and I haven't jumped into the options. I'm assuming you can minimize that because, dude, they're like a weapon card. I can't remember if a guy was switching weapons or whatever, but a display of his weapon came up in the lower right and it's like, ball, I mean, not small, by the way, like, overly massive for a shooter, which sort of hurts my immersion. And then you have, the readout that's like Joe Bob killed Fanty Pack number 62. And you have that sort of readout. You got your chat.
Yeah, went to puddle 69.
Yeah.
Killed you.
Likes to lick questionable puddles 12. I don't know if it's going to be a thing or not, but I would assume you would be able to either remove or minimize those. And I can't see that not being a thing. I haven't checked. I'm going to check again today, but I just didn't get a chance because it wasn't super. It didn't like bother me. I just noticed it. It's noticeable.
Hopefully it's one of those things that they've designed it in a way where you can turn off elements.
All of it.
Without just losing a bunch of information.
Oh, yeah, a bunch of information. Yeah.
Yeah. But I was going to ask you, what's the situation with voice comms? Is it just open where you're hearing all these people like breathing into their mics and stuff? What's happening there?
I did not hear a thing going on the entire time. So either mine's off or it was out or what. But that's typical.
Are you a fan in those games? Like, do you want to hear the rumblings of?
I've always believed that a good game that was trying to remember, this is a company who was out there stating we're not going to have fancy character skins. Like, we're that realistic. We're so realistic that we're grounded. We're realistic, man. You're going to feel like you're paying your mortgage. That's how fun this is fucking going to be. At the same time, if you're going to do voice for a game like that, what you should have is only your team using comms. Run the comms through a shitty filter so they sound like they're through the radio, and you're good to go, and you can't hear the enemy at all because it makes no absolute fucking sense for you to be able to hear them all the time shit-talking you when they're 60 miles away. But nobody really wants to take the true realism side. They do. So you'll hear a game company be like, we're trying to control that. We want to make sure that we blah, blah, blah. And it's like, technically, they don't want to control it. What they do sort of like shit-talking and stuff like that. So, but I didn't hear anything at all, and I was playing with people in Discord, so I was hearing them. And I had the audio pretty far down. But Baseball says he believes voice chat is also per squad. So if you can do that, to me, that's the most realistic way of doing it, is just to keep it to the people on, and so that you can't hear the enemy at all. Because I don't care. Well, I mean, it'd be nice, I guess, if somebody's loud into their mic like this, you could certainly get a system together where you're like, that'll come out through the character. That'll, maybe it won't even be your voice. Maybe your character will say random things, random one-liners or something like that if you're talking, and it just, you have to control yourself. I don't know. You could do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I like the idea of the walkie, and you could role play with your friends, like, over. You have to say over at the end of every.
You mean like the fake Division trailers where they were all, we have a guy over here. Oh, somebody needs some food. I'm like, nobody in the world, even top tier and low tier and role playing. Like, if you go to a role playing GTA 5 server, you might get people doing what they showed in that Division 2 trailer. But that was so bumpkus, man. It was Division 1, actually, I think. Because that was the infamous car door trailer video where people were like, oh my God, you can close car doors. Dude, that's how easily impressed people are. You can shut a car door as you pass by it. Best game ever. But
crazy.
Yeah, I don't think
you can vault. Remember, like when Division 2, you can vault over the car's hoods.
Oh yeah, it felt
and people
good.
Were freaking out. Like,
yeah, it
did
great.
Feel good.
Yeah, it feels great. They have a really nice soft animation system that lets you feel like Even though
it's fluid.
As somebody who has jumped on a car in my youth, I can tell you it is not as easy as my character shows it to be in the game. Where the character just sort
of... It's like jumping a fence when you see it in a movie. Someone jumping, like Tom Cruise will just hop a fence.
Yeah.
And you'll be trying to replicate that in real life. Like, hold on a second. Like,
snap, break. Yeah. So, but no, Battlefield looked, it looked really good. It looked fun. Some good sound effects. I thought the audio was pretty good. There was a couple little bugs that I've heard people having, but I wasn't really having too many sound effect bugs. The only thing I will say is all these games love to make sure that they ruin all your fun by balancing everything out until it's neutered like
every gun has to perform the same DPS.
Right now, that is apparently for sure not what's going on, because I found a couple guns, and so did the people I was watching, that were ruthless. For example, there's some that have a range that is hilarious for how much lead they throw down. Man, you will just be firing going, I am pinging people so far away with this. This is ridiculous. Like, so there's a couple of those. There's one setup that I think I saw somebody post in our, it was either Telegram or in here, that showed a guy shooting bullets, and it was just like, it just didn't move. There was almost no recoil for it. So, they'll do some of that, but I just don't think they want, I don't think they want anything being gratuitous, because if it is, everybody will sway towards that, which I understand. But at the same time, they do neuter the fun out, at some point you're like, yeah, whatever, it's sort of,
it's cool when you find that one gun.
Yeah. Feels good.
That's amazing. And it just feels like it clicks with you, and you're just able to squeeze the damage out of that thing.
Yeah, those always feel good. What else is going on in that? Pretty good.
Did you get to drive? I was just curious. Like any vehicles?
Oh, there's vehicles. I didn't drive any. I saw some people driving. I jumped on one, but yeah, didn't drive. It's not, at least what I saw, I'm not going to be in that vehicle very long. There's a lot of what we talked about last week. It's a anti-helicopter, anti-tank area. Well, the tanks or the armored vehicles, sorry, there's some that can last for a while if somebody's smart. But overall, what I really just saw was, for example, last night somebody was running and we saw somebody zoom by, and I was like, dude, that guy's just like, fucking, I ain't waiting. And then we realized it was the other person in the chat who just jumped in the car, didn't even stop for anybody, and drove off. And I'm like, that's teamwork. That's the kind of teamwork that I expect in any team-based game, is the guy who's like got 6 seats in a truck and fills it with 0 people and drives all the way to the front of the war to go to battle.
Into
and now
the enemy lines without backup. Yeah.
And by the way, I'm not lying, that's what happened. He got in front of us. The other guy finally caught up to him, turned around the corner, and the explosion went off before he could get there, killed the guy who was in the vehicle. And we were just like, dude, that's what you get. That's what you get. But yeah, it was enjoyable. I will say, though, that I think we were talking about this earlier. I don't know about you. I do think that the consistent modern military feel that is in so many of these games definitely can feel long in the tooth before you've ever experienced it. Like, you jump into Battlefield and there is a familiarity there that is both awesome, but also ultimately less surprising and less engaging than I would want. Where I'm like, yeah, it's another, it's another current, slightly modern, because they want more weapons and they want some more furniture for their weapons kind of battle game. And that's sort of what you get the moment you jump in. You're like, all right, that's cool. I'm not saying everything needs to be laser guns, but would be nice to see somebody figure out sort of a futuristic one that wasn't robots, but it was just like 15, 20 years in the future with some stuff. They need to tweak netcode, especially to have less frustration. I've died late several times to people around a corner, behind a wall. Yeah, that would suck. Dylan says, I'm a shotgun enjoyer. Very funny. One-tapping someone playing the game like COD, sprinting around every corner. That's interesting. I haven't noticed a positive or negative for running. I ran, didn't get shot, stood in place, got shot, ran, got shot, stood in place, got shot.
That was the constant, getting shot.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I haven't really, because I would say it feels to me pretty lethal. That would be the one thing, is there's a couple weapons in there I've definitely heard some people say, that didn't seem to kill as quick as I thought. But what I felt last night, at least, was that a lot of the weapons were so highly... Oh, let me give you an example. buildings are destructible. Most of them have some destruction. During the games that we played, there was almost nobody engaging in any strategy involving destruction at all because death was so quick that they either weren't able to put together even the most basic of strategies or weren't even able to investigate a strategy or some kind of experimental use because they were already dead or trying to kill somebody because the guns reached out so far. So that's where some of the balance probably needs to happen because there's some cool stuff you can do with the destruction, for sure. I saw some of it last night that was on accident that I was like, oh, man. And I'm already sitting there going, oh, you could probably do this. And what if you did this? And one guy did. But right now, it is Call of Duty in bigger maps. It's still just sprinting everywhere with the occasional sniper hiding somebody or somewhere, everybody finding him and shooting him and then restarting. And that's fine. It's got its own feel. So that's, before somebody who's like a Battlefield fan, loses their shit. I'm not saying they're the same, but, generic military shooters. Still fun. Most beta maps are cities, so they have limited destruction. Vapor for blood. Yeah, nobody's found that out, though. I'll tell you that. I didn't see anybody attempted anything. Vapor for blood says a plasma or pulse rifle would be nice. Ideally, 40-meter range. Okay, why exactly 40? Are you like a Warhammer fan?
Very specific.
It's very specific. No. Yeah, I don't quite understand that. That seemed more specific than I expected. It's like, Sully says RPG is very fun. Dude, RPGs are always fun. I feel like there's never an RPG that wouldn't be fun unless you're on the other end of it, right? Like, RPGs are just fun. Rocket-propelled grenade.
Yeah. I mean, that's why they have
cinnamon and ice cream, man. That's like you get your grenade, which is awesome, your rocket that's awesome, and then you give it to a dude, and he can shoot it, which is awesomer. Like, it's great. Oh, he says 40 watt that's is why what I think he meant. Go ahead.
Oh, gotcha. Well, that's why the ammo is always scarce for RPGs, because it's awesome, right? So they need to limit that.
Yeah, it feels so good. Let's see, what else? There isn't much else, It worked. I didn't have any issues with Secure Boot.
Like performance and stuff, you said pretty solid.
Pretty solid. It's not doing the craziest shit. It's not doing what was in the trailers. It's doing what you saw in the limited occasional streams.
It's your bread and butter. Shooter.
Yeah. So
with a sprinkle of the destruction.
The big test of graphics cards isn't going to be multiplayer for the most part, unless there's a time where everybody does shoot rockets at each other in the center of a square. It's going to be your campaign where they throw every single thing at some specific point to make it look Michael Bay-ish, which I'm all for. Can't wait. Like, I'm all for that. That's going to be awesome to try. Like that's actually one of the more exciting things is jump into the campaign and just see where it's headed, what their plans are for it. I've read a little bit about it and got wasn't PR. I think it might have just been somebody DMing me saying that they knew some stuff about it. I can't remember, but I'm excited to check it out. I mean, it's Battlefield, man. What else can you say? Is there any other big first-person shooter arena modern games? Or are those the two? I mean, there's Arma, but that's not even in this thing. So before anybody, because people know I like Arma, but I think overall it's just Call of Duty and Battlefield, right? There's other adjacent stuff that's really popular, like Tarkov, but that's completely different genre. Yeah. I just meant in this, in this.
In this pure thing.
I think it's just them, man.
I think it's just them. Even Rainbow Siege is its own thing with the more
Rainbow Siege is definitely its own
tactical maps.
That's true. Yeah, it's like, dude, Rainbow Siege and then Call of Duty.
It's a square.
And then Battlefield.
It's like a
because the size difference and how they feel and everything. They're always shooting guns, so that part feels the same. But the speed and reaction time is almost always high in Siege. And then it's sometimes a little less high in Call of Duty, but still pretty fucking high. Yeah. And then you have Battlefield, which hopefully can get a little bit stretched out. Oh, Kel, there we go. Kel brought up one that I think that's what was in my brain, but Medal of Honor. When was the last time a Medal of Honor was released? I think that's actually the game in my brain that I was just putting on this list or something. I don't know why. But yeah, I don't think there's any others. But it looks cool, and this is EA Pro too, or whatever, right? This is the Pro subscription, so $15 if you want to play it. Hey. I said go for it.
Is there matchmaking of some sort? I know it's early, so might not be in place yet.
I don't know how they're going to do match. I don't know how they go about it. I have no clue.
Right.
I haven't read any of their tech stuff. Yeah, right.
I would hope there's a way to kind of be paired up with people who also don't know what they're doing.
You like that? You like the sort of leveling?
Yeah, because there's a certain level where if the other people are better than you to a certain degree, you can't even play the game.
Right.
You literally can't even get a chance to become better at the game, right? Because you're just being exploited. This is like the smurfing conversation that we've had sometimes. It's not a good environment.
Hell Let Loose is similar, Baseball Gear says. Yeah, but it's not. I guess what I'm thinking real quick, guys, is I'm trying to remember if there's like a Forza GTA Need for Speed. There's your 3.
Like the big players.
I'm just in back of my brain going, am I missing one? And maybe it hasn't been out or maybe the last one didn't do well. And there's a Call of Duty. I don't think there is, though. I think it's Call of Duty unless I'm completely forgetting one of the top tier titles, which
I think you're right.
Unknown, but I think it's just.
I mean, people can think about a ton of FPS games, right? That could be similar, but that are doing that. Scale? Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, scale, number of players. Yeah, it's going to be great, dude. I think I'll probably play a little bit. Halo used to be. Yeah, wasn't necessarily as big, but yeah, I would agree. That's actually somewhat of a good point. And not modern in current day, but I think I'll play a little bit. And then what I will do is I would just go right back to Call of Duty, finish that up or continue playing it, blah, blah, blah. And then when this comes out, hopefully have my time filled with what I wanted to do in Call of Duty, because Call of Duty is sort of just a fun jump in, but we'll have to see. Yeah, it's interesting, man. I've wanted to like a Call of Duty for a long time because I can't even tell you the number that I liked. There was one particular one that I remember, Molotov Michelle, Reg, myself, Silver, a bunch of people jumped into, were playing. I think even Sleeve played. And I just honestly can't, like, it was a couple titles ago. So it's been a while since there's been one that's really caught my attention. That's very cool. Sorry, I had to take a migraine pill. That's the second time I've had one today. The Battlefield beta is really enjoyable so far. Love the game. Says excited for the full release. Won't pre-order, but will buy after a few weeks. That's smart. A few weeks might be smart. I'm not even worried as much about their server situations as I am about getting attracted to one of my guns or something like that, and then have them snip its nuts off.
To nerf the hell out of it.
Yeah. I sort of like the idea of coming in after, so you're not accustomed to those. And it's just like, all right, I need to find whatever works for me and not get accustomed to one thing because, man, that can ruin your fun, getting snipped a little bit. Sound was good. Voice, hey, dude, it's not even a thing. So I won't talk about music. Had it turned down. It's pretty okay, but not really a thing. Moving on to Mafia, though. So this was interesting, man. Mafia's got some weird scores. I guess that's the easiest way. So it's already dropped to 76, 75 on Meta. Mafia is one of those titles where the more I read the scores, the more I was... It makes sense why the scores were done the way they were. But once I started really diving into the excerpts from reviews, that's when I got really confused because I was having people go, hey, did you see this score? And then did you read the review? I usually won't do that. But when I don't get a major game, I can do it. So I went and I read some, and it was sort of weird, man. It was sort of weird. You would see one person saying like, yeah, so the writing is excellent, but the story is not. And the ending is abrupt and not enjoyable. And you have bosses where in a cutscene, you'll lose your knife every time right before a cutscene so that you have to fight the boss. And by the time I got done with the sentence, I'm like, well, what part of the writing was good then? Like, what part of the writing was good if you just mentioned that all these other things were bad? The voices were great, except for everybody other than the main character. That was another thing I saw, which was odd. A lot of repetitive knife fights where supposedly the knife fighting is just ridiculous. Like almost every review I saw, even the ones who really adored the game, were like, holy shit, they really went a bit far on this. And I think what was happening is that it is a shorter story for a cheaper price, which is great. It is the return of I think a beloved franchise, right? Getting back in there, but it's also not a full open world game. but it's got little bits of open world stuff that then tells you don't need to do it because there's a linear mission. So it'll be like, you can drive here or just teleport. So there's these oddities that maybe in 5 years we're going to hear this was originally an open world game and they've sanctioned it off, because they were like, hey, we can't, it's too much. Lack of interactivity and stuff makes sense. I saw people complain about that, but it's a linear game. Makes sense. I think, to me, I don't expect a lot of linear games to have a ton of interactivity because that's just a lot of wasted resources. It's just like, oh, well, this one chicken, if you follow it for 2 hours, finally lays an egg and you can take the egg and you can eat it. It's like, dude, it doesn't need to be that complicated. 77, though, not necessarily the score I was personally hoping for. As a meta, I don't care about meta personally, but I know that they do. I care more about sales, and it seems like sales are very good, so I'll just put that out there and say that's the great part, is that sales matter. But I would say internally, working on the game, I think I could see some of those scores and be like, damn, some people really hammered the shit out of it for things that were realistic, not realistic, whatever. It's just the way reviews go. I think overall what I've seen and what I saw, it looks exactly like what they said, which is like, it's a linear game. It's not open world. You go from place to place. You can drive some cars. You can do some shit if you want. But for the most part, you're telling this story of this particular character. As long as you go into it knowing that, it seems like the game is fairly rewarding. But I will say that it is odd. Usually you cut the things I just said out to get a more directed story. So you cut out your open world, you cut out your extra animations, you cut out your extra interactivity so that you can have a better story, better this, better that, better pacing, and deliver a title, because the strengths are gaining even more strength from taking the energy and resources from these other things.
Yeah.
And it's going to be really fascinating to play this game because it doesn't feel like that's what happened. It felt like in some places, I'm going to wonder in my own brain, what if this had been open world or open country? Because some people I trust who reviewed it, or don't trust, but I mean, some people I've followed and I'm like, okay, that they made sense in their context. I'm like, oh, it's going to be very fascinating to play this game to see if there'll be times where I'm like, you know what? What if that was open world? Because I usually don't think that, but it seems like sometimes the resources and the shit that were taken away didn't pay off. One thing's the ending too. I had a couple people telling me that like the ending feels like 2 or 3 hours was just snipped off the end, like just cut. And so I'm like, is that DLC or is that, was that just their plan? Was that story just, maybe it just didn't resonate? But I've seen multiple people saying that the very ending was like, what? So that.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Did you hear that as well? Okay.
Yeah. I always think that the endings are overrated anyway.
Absolutely, dude. You got it. Yeah.
In terms of value, like, I can have a subpar ending, but if the journey was amazing, that's what I'll remember. Yeah. There are a few exceptions. We always talk about Mass Effect that had a sour ending that, yes, it did sour the full game. But to me, that's not really a concern, because what I want from those games, at least me, is I want the journey of being almost like a nobody and then become a badass mafioso, right? Like,
right
at the level of like the big guys. And it's that kind of journey that matters to me. So if the ending is a bit abrupt, I don't really mind. The other thing that I heard is people complaining about replayability, that it's not replayable. And I just thought, man, that's just not what I want from a Mafia game anyway. I'm not there to replay this thing over and over.
Right.
So it just
agree with that.
Strikes me as weird that they're ducking points, and even a lot of points in some people's reviews for it not being replayable, where I don't think these ever were necessarily in nature.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't know if replayable means. I don't know what they mean. I'm assuming without the interactivity, without blah 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 blah, that means it's not replayable to them. But you're talking to somebody who's replayed games that only have 1 or 2 real choices in them because you enjoy whatever's going on. So I wouldn't be too bothered if this didn't have replayability in the sense they're saying, which is most likely that you go here, you do this, and nothing changes. That's life, man.
Choices, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the game that they're making, and that's the delivery of of what they wanted to do. And I think that's great. Let them do it. Let them do it, because it is weird for everybody to bitch and say nobody's doing this or nobody's doing this. And it's like, well, they are right there. Oh man, I don't want every game being open world. Okay, great. Well, guess what? This game's not open world. So, it's done it differently, and you may not like it or what have you, but at the same time, somebody is doing it, which to me, I think it's fine. Yeah, what I saw I thought pretty cool. It looks like right there at that price point too. Like it looks like a fair price point. I mean, we've had other ones doing stuff like that in this price point, or that felt like they were going for a shorter thing, like Atomfall or what have you. Like, it's not the first game to do this, and I think it makes sense for a company like this to try to hit that. I will say for them also, they had such a miss on Mafia 3, or Mafia 3. The series had a miss on Mafia 3. I'm okay with them saying, let's see if we can tell a story and deliver a story that people like in this game. And then if they do, well, then we can, look at doing a different title in the future. I think that's at least to me is sort of the plan. I could be wrong on that, but I like it. People are saying that they might have open world fatigue. Yeah, I would say I agree with James Gunn. He said something I thought was pretty intelligent. Do you have superhero fatigue or average / boring superhero movie fatigue? And I would say, honestly, because I loved, let's say, Deadpool, I would go towards, yes, he's right. And then I don't have in any way, shape, or form like a fatigue around open world. I do have a fatigue of ones that don't nail it and make things feel interactive, make a reason for you to want to engage in them and enjoy them. I think in general, it's not really just the type of game. Is it good? Maybe we have too many examples now of good ones. It's easy to go back. It's easy to switch. It's easy to find when you haven't played. So
I agree with you, because if there is like a new Elden Ring or something like that,
I'll be the first one to check it out.
I'm still, I'm stoked. I'm playing that, 100 hours. So just depends on the game.
Yeah, especially because when you look at how all these are put together, I mean, I would say Mafia reminds me of Alpha Protocol a ton, in the fact that it's like there's choice in Alpha Protocol, but it's still like a more contained game. When people were experimenting with bigger ones, I really liked Alpha Protocol. I'll probably really like Mafia. I like a lot of these games. They don't have to change anything up at all. I mean, it's almost like saying, okay, nobody can write a murder mystery the same way. And if they do, it can't be a good book. It's like, dude, that's not how it works. It's not at all how it works. You can, if somebody can ace something, they do a good job within the context of whatever area they're trying to deliver their entertainment, then it'll be fine. I'm happy for them overall, though. I would have liked it. Like I said, I really want to play it. I want to play it and see like where my own brain score fits. This is not to argue with anybody. I'm genuinely just saying I'm interested in the game because of what I've seen. Yeah. And it sounds like you saw the same complaints I saw, which then made me go, okay, like I said, maybe Open Hub would have been Outer Worlds, I think, is a good example of how to do Open Hub well, and not be open world like Skyrim, but do Open Hub. And it's like, ooh, would Mafia have been sort of cool if they had done, would that have actually helped it? But we'll have to see. What else for Mafia?
I was thinking about the comparison with LA Noire. I installed the VR version the other day, and I was just thinking, it's a similar time frame, right? So I believe it's early 1900s.
LA Noire is LA Noire is like fucking after. What is it? Right after World War II, right? Because coal came out of World War II, I think. So 1950s, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, so it's a little bit further apart,
like 50 years
than
later.
I thought.
Yeah. But what were you talking about? I mean, thematically, it doesn't matter when it happens. I was thinking it doesn't. Thematically is what you're talking about.
Right. I was thinking if it was going to scratch the same itch. It's itch and scratch in one word for you. Scritch.
I mean, yeah, it's low tech.
I
could see
LA
that.
Noire.
Yeah.
Because LA Noire had an open city, right? I think it was.
LA Noire was really city light. Yeah, it was. Honestly, LA Noire was a lot like this, except it seems to be. It was a little bigger than this game, but LA Noire, there wasn't a lot going on. There was a genuinely basic pedestrian system and a genuinely
not
basic
much interaction at all either.
Yeah, not much. Yeah. Not much at all. There was some. I know that there was some occasional crimes you could get called to, and I was told that behind the scenes in the code still, they had left some more detailed stuff, but they were like, nah, we're just... It's almost like Bully is the same way. In Bully, after a while, you get out of the school, you still have the school as a base, but you can go to like the beach, and there's a beach home that you can have parties at. There's the fairgrounds. There's a town, but it's all really... light, L-I-T-E. It's all really like, diet world. And weirdly enough, that works because it continues to allow you to explore but still be focused on your character, which I think is what Mafia is going for. It's like there is some stuff, little bits of stuff, but it needs to stay solidly on the main guy and the story and the experience he's having. So Eternal says, I've never agreed with the notion that length of a game makes it more valuable. We don't do that with any other entertainment. It's more about engaging. I literally think everybody I know talks about length and being something of worth. That's weird.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a part of the equation, isn't it?
Well, yeah, because if it's money,
sure.
If it's free, no. But if it's money, then if you say I can have 200 pages of a good book or 600 pages of a good book, I'd probably read both. But I would look at the one that was longer unless I was mentally fatigued. I would look at the longer one and go, that's good, and it's the same cost. So it's like, I think it always comes into every discussion, and especially shortchanging it. So let's say you go the opposite route and you don't say there's a minimum length to the game. Sorry, that there's a maximum length that you expect. But there's like, what if a game was 3 hours? I think we'd be talking about it. What if a movie you went to at full price was 25 minutes? I think we'd all be like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, why am I going to the theater to sit down for 25 minutes for full price? I don't know. I guess it all depends on how you get the game too. Not this one. Well, EA, does this one on EA Play as well? No, it's not. I'm sorry. But you do have subscriptions for some people and stuff like that. So that changes.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like the salary thing where if your salary is below a certain, point, you're miserable, right? Because you can't pay your bills, like life is struggle. Yeah. But once you get above a certain point, it's kind of diminishing returns what you get from it. So to bring it back to the game, it's like, well, if it's above, you name your number, it could be 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours. If it's above that number, what I'm getting becomes diminishing returns. So if a game is now pushing to 60 hours, what I got
can be
on
diminishing
top,
returns there as well.
That could even be negative, right?
Yes,
it's like overstaying.
Yep.
Because I think especially nowadays people really value the no fluff, packed game experience. Well, I think some people said that about Expedition 33. Where if you kind of just follow the story, it is pretty...
little tighter of a story.
Yeah, like not much filler and takes you through something cool. So I like that. I think there's still a place for these expansive, 60, 100-hour games like Persona 5 and stuff like that. But I do think it's a healthy thing to try to condense it more and err on the side of a shorter game, but really well, paced and compacted versus the sparse.
I think the other thing is that, in all honesty, there's almost nothing in the world I rate on one thing. I mean, that I can think of. It's like...
it's not a one-dimensional...
It's not one-dimensional, thing. So it's like, And so if somebody said, hey, there's a movie that's 45 minutes, but it's the greatest 45 minutes of your life, and it still costs the same as a movie that's, your 3 hours, which I personally believe movies are bloated anyway. The current movies that you go to the theater, they feel way too long. I mean, I might go to check it out by sheer curiosity. Here's the other cool thing that no one ever talks about. Well, of course we talk about it in here, but I'm saying you don't get talked about. I don't quite know. I think it's because this could even just be for me, for you, whatever. It might be a conversation that's so complex and it's so multifaceted. But people do have a tendency to forget that the experimentation becomes the baseline the very moment you do it. And I do think that it's quite easy for, if this movie did come out to go, okay, I'll check it out. That could completely throw off your context for all the other stuff that you then judge, from that point on. And we do talk about it at times where you hear somebody say, I played this one game, it was great, so now therefore every other game has to be at this level. I don't think you or I do that, and I think that's a one-way ticket to disaster land. But I do think it's a cool discussion to be like, I experimented with this, that slightly infects the rest of your baseline a little bit. And it sort of goes back and it slightly adjusts up or down, adds some noise to your choice, to where you're like, because how many times have you done that where you're like, I don't like horror, but you know what? There's this one horror movie, and suddenly you realize that experimentation you had it's got in there. It's got into this, like, you put up bulwarks, man. You're like, these are my walls. I hate horror movies.
Yeah.
But, The Fog was really good by John Carpenter. And then suddenly you're like, well, then do I like horror movies? Obviously not, but you get the drift. It's a cool discussion to have. Thank you for the podcast, Hero on Business, or Here on Business. I've misread it every time. So the hero we deserve is Sonar, and Here on Business is obviously not. So sorry for I continue to read you as his. Thank you for the podcast. Yeah, you're welcome, man. Appreciate you sitting around and listening to our dumb fuckery. Do we have anything
He's
else?
British, so we have to give him the British greeting,
do you know
which
he's
is
British?
All right, mate.
How do you know he's British? Do you talk to him?
Yeah, I just chatted to him.
Oh, gotcha. Because I'm like,
a few times.
I have no clue if somebody's British or not. I don't track that. So there you go. Fact: Johnny's a stalker. For sure. That's creepy. He knows exactly where you're going. Uh-oh. Okay, this dog's going to the restroom. Can you read that super chat?
Yeah, of course. Dustin Kyburn, hope I pronounced that correctly. Sorry, Dustin. $5 says, no question, just running through Alien Isolation for the first time. AVP 2 Marine campaign scared the shit out of me as a kid. Have a good weekend. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. AVP?
He said poop. Yeah, AVP, Alien. I think he meant, he said Alien versus Predator isn't the same. I think he's talking about Alien Isolation, right? The good one. That one is great. Alien Isolation. AVP. Let us know if we're missing a different game you're talking about. He says,
maybe that's just the name of the campaign.
Marine campaign. Yeah, I don't know, because no, he's talking about Alien versus Predator 2. He's not talking about Alien. I think you said Isolation. I was in the other room. I thought you said Isolation, but I could be wrong on that. If he's meaning AVP 2, that's crazy, because that's like considered.
Well, he said Alien Isolation, so.
Oh, there he goes. Yeah, just running through Alien Isolation for the first time. AVP 2 Marine campaign scared the shit out of me. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't remember those two being like that nomenclature being used. But it's been a long time since I played AVP 2. Man.
Speaking about length, not like that, but there's something about venturing into different genres that's only possible with short games. So there's something to be said about the short experience where, maybe you're not a horror fan, but you're happy to kind of jump in for 4 or 5 hours.
Right.
And just try a cool horror experience. Whereas if the game is kind of sitting at 10, 15 hours, your Silent Hill at like 20-ish, that's a bit of a tough ask if it's not really up your alley. So some of these short games can really be great palate cleansers if you want something different than what you were playing usually and just kind of try something different as well. They can be great gateways into different genres for people.
I mean, I think technically that's sort of exactly what I was saying, was that experimentation usually is of a shorter period of time because it's experimental. You don't want to invest. Right.
True.
I mean, if somebody says, let's go ballroom dancing, you're not a dancer. You wouldn't want to go to an 8-hour
You're not going to commit to a 2-week
a reunion of people who ball danced all their lives, and I don't feel like that's probably for me. Experimentation, I think, overall de facto is a little bit shorter for you to make that choice, get into it, see what's going on, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I would agree with that. Powder Cake says the order 1886 was too short. You know, it's interesting, man. 1886 was too short. That is a long discussion. That is a much longer discussion than you would think a game that rarely gets talked about deserves. But I think that at times that game's short time frame helped a lot of people like it. It didn't go on too long to be boring, but also it didn't really have a bunch of shit that like put it above anything else other than graphics that were insane. Graphics in that game. Man, graphics were so
for
good.
The time.
Dude, for the time. I mean, I saw somebody streaming that like 3 weeks ago, and I was like, that fucking game looks awesome, man.
Wasn't it like PS3, I think?
No, 4.
I want to say
the starting.
Was
4
it?
at the 4 at the starting.
Okay.
And they even did a thing where they sort of trunked down the resolution to get the frame rate where they needed.
Oh, yeah.
But they did some it was a little soft image-wise, but they did some cool stuff with their sampling and shit. It was just like, it looks so good. You Mad Dog, $5 super chat. Hey guys, wondering if you were able to look into the Outcat Kickstarter pre-order and campaign for Dark Heresy. I wasn't. What about it? Oh, that was nope. I didn't look into it.
No.
I just took your guys' story as gospel.
Oh
like
yeah,
always.
we talked about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I have no clue. No clue what's going on with that one. But it sounds to me like they've got a lot of negative fan feedback, right? So,
yep.
I mean, in all honesty, that's something that they'll have to sort of figure out on their own. Damn it, I can hear those dogs barking, and it's causing me to... Yeah, I'm going to go get it. I'll be right back. Dude, sorry.
Yeah, go for it. No worries. I know how it is.
Move on to the next
If I'm
topic.
hearing my cat in the background, I'm also hella distracted. We got a super chat here from You Mad Dog. $5. Thank you, buddy. He says, hey guys, wondering if you were able to look into the... sorry, we just read that. Okay, completely spaced that. Ad campaign. Yeah, that was a really weird situation with that. Hellblade price maybe should have been less. Yeah, Hellblade was on the shorter side, but it was also a Game Pass game, which I think mitigates that. And yeah, with that game, I don't necessarily want a longer game either, because it's it's a little bit unsettling. So I don't know. I like the length of Hellblade, both 1 and 2, I would say.
Yeah, I think those were thank you for doing that. These guys were at the other end of my backyard.
No problem.
I would say with Hellblade, I think it was a sort of a perfect perfect length for that kind of game. That kind of game is pretty rough for a lot of people. I mean, I know every gamer is too cool for school. It's like, I feel no emotions, Yeah.
No, but it can grate on
the
you.
Same day.
Because it's,
for a lot of
you're in
people,
your head.
there's a lot of mental shit going on in that game. And so, it's just like a horror movie that overstays its welcome or something. After a while, you can become immune to it. So I think it fit for its length.
She's literally suffering through the entire,
It's
1 and 2,
porn.
she's having a terrible... There's no moment of levity almost. So you can only
she's getting
do
absolutely
that for so long.
smacked through the entire thing. It's so funny, too, because, dude, it's just going to sound like I'm bitching, man. I don't know another way to say it. So I'm going to say it this way, but be aware, I'm not bitching about anybody or anything like that. But it is weird to me, especially in games, that we consistently say we want experimentation or people trying unique things or doing unique things. And then when they get it, or when we get it, we have a tendency a lot of times, especially on the review side, to review it as if it's Call of Duty. And that it doesn't appeal to this particular thing. So therefore, it's not, it can't be worth it. The replayability, let's say, or whatever. And it's odd because I talk about this with you a lot, but there is this dichotomy that, by the way, I'm not even saying when you say you people, you could mean two totally different people on the internet, right? I'm talking about people I know who this is the same person. We've joked about it, where they will say one thing and 2 seconds later will say the complete opposite of the expectation. And you're like, dude, do you realize you just said you want experimentation, but they experimented too much or whatever? It's like, I mean, and it feels like with games in particular, we open it up and we're like, hey man, there's this massive amount of experimentation you can do. Oh, but it's not exactly the same as all this other stuff. Therefore, I don't like it. And
yeah,
maybe it's because reviewing for games in particular doesn't require this either, but I think that they do a more due diligence in study, or used to, where like a Siskel and Ebert had watched, had done so many reviews that when they got onto TV, you knew that they had 20 or 30 years of experience. And then for gaming, and this is how I got into it, I had played a bunch of games, I had programmed and worked, but still, and you're able to just say, I'm a reviewer. There's not a lot of jobs, Johnny, where you can wake up and just go, I am that. Okay, let me give you an example. What if I showed up and I was like, I'm a train conductor? People would be like, no, fuck you are, man. I'm a pilot. No, you're not. You are not a pilot at all. And you can't say that. You'd be like, no, I'm for sure a pilot, because there's no certification. There shouldn't be for a reviewer. That would be weird. But it is also, if we all know this, because I'm sure somebody is going to be like, well, we know that. If we do, then why are you listening to those people? Like, if you know the very thing that I'm talking about, then why is it that when something like that is said, maybe you're looking at a game and somebody says, oh, it's not Destiny, or it's not blah, blah, blah. You're like, well, maybe isn't that sort of what we're hoping for? Is that it's not?
Yeah.
But it's the same thing when I tell you, when I'll get somebody who says Carrick doesn't agree with everybody else's review. How dare you? I'll never trust you again. I'm like, it says independent reviewer, dummy. Like, that does mean
well, it's interesting too, because every other creative or artistic craft, you are outed instantly if you don't know what you're doing. So if I pick up a guitar,
true,
you can, even if you don't know about music, you can tell instantly if I can play the damn thing or not, or
dude,
like
you're onto
more or less
there.
The level I'm at.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But there's something about being a game journalist that it's not as easy to just say like that someone isn't good at it, because I guess it's so relative what it would mean to be good at it, that it's not that obvious. It's not, what I mean? You can get away with a lot.
Yeah. And do you know another thing you can get away with? You can get away with a lot because the requirement to show expertise is within a game where the framework is notoriously about showing expertise. Let me give you an example of that. I've taught martial arts for years. I still get tested. If I show up and I don't know the shit I'm doing, you'll know right away.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah. Instantly.
And because the output is right there, it's infinite output. Somebody can see it and judge it. But in a game, if I hit A and you hit A, my A will notoriously look like yours. And the attack and the expertise can look the same. And so you can get this false sense of expertise around something. By the way, this is for anybody. This is not like, it's not even a diatribe about anything. It's that even ourselves, we can do that, where you're like, I'm really good at this game. And then you play somebody who's really good at the game. And you're like, okay, I'm not good at this game. And how many times have we had that where you're multiplayer? But it does seem odd that, that especially with like a Hellblade or even Mafia, where, by the way, I'm not saying Mafia is better. In fact, I think the reviews, I mean, in all honesty, everything I read seemed quite fair, very fair for Mafia. But yeah, it does at times seem weird when you get a comparison in a game coverage or in a discussion, even with you guys, even if we had one on the podcast where you're like, why did we compare Tetris to Division? Like, somebody's going to have to explain that to me. Like, what are we doing? So yeah, I don't know. Overall, just an interesting time because weirdly enough, I think this is in my brain because somebody was saying, is Jake Paul a boxer? And the answer is now, which is the same answer that I would give if somebody walked in and started learning boxing. It's just he learned boxing while we saw him doing it and while he was being a shithead. Like, while he was like, but when you see it, it's like, yeah, I guess now, but at first, there were some questions about it, but you see continued growth. You see expertise growing, regardless if you're like me, who believes, some questionable things about some of the opponents. You're just like, you can see it. And I think with this kind of coverage, the same goes for, what was it? Cinema Sins. We had Movie Sins on, right? On the podcast. I don't think we had Cinema Sins on. I got to talk to him again too and have him come back on. We had one of the guys for the movie things, where he would go through a movie and he would bitch. Yeah. Great guy.
Yeah.
And people were like, you ruin movies. I remember he was getting flack for ruining movies. And I was all, what the fuck? Like, what are we talking? You're just pointing something out about it. You're not saying like it's the end all be all. And as long as you're not out there trying to sell it and be like, every director needs to hire me to make sure your movie doesn't have plot holes, it's totally fine. Yeah. It was just, dude, he was fun to have on, man. I need to get him back on. He was a blast. That was a good time. Let's see. The problem was the price was like 20 more than the first for the same length. Don't know what game they're talking about. Maybe they're talking
about Hellblade still.
Hellblade was also about 2 times like more engaging than the first one. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's not really a problem. It is what it is. Like, a problem indicates, I don't know. It's a free market, man. If you don't buy it, doesn't matter if it scores well. And if it scores well and you do buy it, then be happy. I don't know what that game, I don't remember. Did that game score well? Did Hellblade? I think Hellblade scored good to middling, right? Hellblade 2. I think it might have scored a little lower than Hellblade 1. Hellblade 1, weirdly enough, was more of a movie than Hellblade 2, even though they had adjusted some of the combat. It's a very odd title.
The second one is sitting at around 80% on OpenCritic.
Good for them, man. Good for... Oh, shit. I grabbed another monster on accident. I'll try it. I hear these are good. I'll try it.
But yeah, the first one was slightly higher. Pretty good. Similarly, Mafia have been quite consistent with their games being around the 70% mark. I was looking at Metacritic, so it might be different for OpenCritic, but even Mafia 3, which did get flack, landed at 68 or something. So they've been quite consistent.
Do you think that points out that, oh my God, they've got this many titles and they still haven't been able to ace it? Or do you think it points out that they're pretty consistent? Or do you think it points out that because there are 90% of the company staff are not in the same companies anymore, that it doesn't matter, and the number itself draws an invisible line between the 2 points that's completely fake? Because that's what I believe. I believe that we aren't the same reviewers. I reviewed it, but a lot of people are reviewing now never played that game because they weren't reviewing at the time, is all I'm saying. So I'm saying timeline changes, or they didn't get a chance. I just think, in all honesty, 70% 5 years ago meant something drastically different than it does today. And 70% 5 years prior to that means something drastically different. And especially then when you take into context the genre. So, for example, open world wasn't a big deal. So when it became a big deal for a while, people were reviewing those games out of the stratosphere because they were like, I can get out of the car, 10 out of 10, and you're like, not quite sure.
That's an interesting thought process. If there's some either inflation or the opposite,
it just goes up and down. It just
for some genres.
It's just why I don't think it matters too much that they were always equal, because you mentioned the one thing that I would say, which is that Mafia 3 was a dramatic step down from 1 and 2. So therefore, if it scored even within 2 to 5 points, it shows there's a problem with the points, not the games. That game delivered and people knew what it delivered. The score doesn't appear to be commensurate with what was occurring. That usually indicates a problem with the scoring system. It doesn't indicate a problem with the people, because the people are still showing up. If you have the same adequate guy showing up and he's rowing in your boat and suddenly you give him a higher or a lower time, that's on you. That's not on the guy who's been rowing that fucking boat the same way the last time he showed up. Like, that's on us.
And that like 70 mark is the median, more or less, 70, for a game that's,
fine,
like,
man.
good production.
Not anymore, though.
Not a lot of holes.
So I would say, I mean, at least what I'm hearing for the most part is if you start getting into the 70s, low 70s, man, there's like,
ooh,
you're hearing a lot of the old, well, I can get 55 other games, kind of discussion that's going on around it. So that's what I'm hearing. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying that's what I'm hearing. That it seems to pop up a lot, that the scoring has changed, that 60. I mean, when was the last time we saw a 40% game? Gollum?
Dude, I don't remember. Yeah, maybe Gollum.
Let's do this. Okay.
Okay.
Let's look some of these up real quick. All right, so let's go with Gollum first, just because I know that game. All right, so Gollum, Lord of the Rings. 37%. I was right on. 4% of critics. That means someone, by the way, stated that game was worth playing. I just don't know how. So that game got a 47%. 47. Wow. That's quite low. So 40, you know what though? 47%, it seems fair when you think of it, but then when I start seeing the scores, I see a lot of 1 out of 2s, but I also see a 5 out of 10, which then you start to wonder about that scoring system. But anyway, yeah, so there you go. So Gollum, we hit nail on the head right there. What's another one?
Dude, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, 20% critics recommend.
Yeah, so I would say in a way that makes sense because Gollum is so you're saying it's higher than Gollum, right? You said 20%, where Gollum was 4% of critics were recommending. You're saying 20?
Oh, did you say 4? Sorry,
4.
I thought you said 40.
Hell no.
My bad.
Hell no.
Okay.
No.
Okay, no,
dude,
that tracks.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. All right.
So no, the reason why I was bringing it up is I'm like, when you look at that game, despite the obvious complaints about it, it's at 60%, 59 to 60%, with 20% critics recommending it. Maybe a little low for what that game is, because I didn't have any bugs. It just wasn't great. It was, but it wasn't like super bad. But I think that shows that at least Gollum is rated correctly. What was another one though? Like that was Alakine's
what was the Microsoft one? Blanking on that.
Oh my God, Redfall?
Redfall?
Yeah, let's look at Redfall. Okay, that's a good point. Okay, so Redfall 57%, 13 critic. So yeah, pretty. I think that sort of checks out. Yeah,
similar ballpark. Oh, Mind's Eye. Someone said.
Ooh, Mind's Eye. So Mind's Eye. I still need, dude. I need to give that. I need to give that a try here. Played a little bit of it, but Mind's Eye is at 34%, 6% critics. That seems about right. Mind's Eye does have a lot of problems. Yeah.
IGN gave it a 4 out of 10. There you go.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it depends on how many bugs you have at the time. And it's a linear story with open world side beats, little baby open world bits, Mafia in a way, a reflection of that. So that makes some sense, I guess. Yeah, it's interesting, though, looking at these and seeing how bad some games actually, like the truly bad ones. What about Drake and the 99 Dragons? Hang on one second, Drake. Oh, darn, it's not in the list. It's not in that game was, I think it was called
Drake what's interesting,
of the 99 Dragons, right? Yeah. God, it was terrible. Go ahead.
Jedi Survivor, which was a complete flop on release, right? We can all agree, is now sitting at 84% critic average, 87% critics recommend. That's a hell of a turn. I mean, I had good fun with the game, but yeah, it's interesting to see based on just how negative the reception was, right?
Yeah.
To see this.
Yeah. I mean, bugs, right? People are fixing bugs, which is always nice. Always great to see companies go out there and be like, hey, we are going to fix some of these issues that have popped up. Because there's a lot of people who want to play a Star Wars game, man, including yours truly. I'm a Star Wars freak. So, a good Star Wars freak, which means I haven't really liked a Star Wars item or show or movie in ages. But I'm still waiting. I'm one of those kind of fans where I'm like, you guys will get it at some point. Also, I wanted to bring up the fact that, so this recently popped up, Bioshock 4, they had that leadership shakeup, and the CEO of that company came out yesterday and said something along the lines of, hand on my heart, this game is going to release, which I thought was an interesting discussion piece, just because I think maybe you and I talked about it. I might have talked about it in a side podcast, but I'm a big Bioshock fan, regardless if I've loved everyone equally. I actually do want to see it succeed, regardless if Ken's involved or not. There's no, like, I don't know why there would be, but it's not called Ken Levine's Bioshock. It's just Bioshock. Right? So I'm fine with that. I was happy to see him put his foot down, because to me, that also, regardless of how we took it, as in, was it a CEO just blah, 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 it does indicate, I would say, behind the scenes to the normal staff, that they do believe that the game needs and will continue to get funded, which is nice. Does that mean tomorrow they won't cancel it? No, it does not, but it's nice to hear regardless, right? I got a kudo at my job the day before I got laid off. It happens. So maybe that'll happen. But
dude.
Yeah. Dude, how many times?
That would be like mixed messages. Like,
it happens
come
all
on,
the
guys.
Well, no, it's not. You know why? Can't mix if you're not in the fucking basin to be mixed with anything. You can get a kudo the day prior, because when you're not able to get back into that blender, the mix doesn't matter anymore. So it's just like, to me, it didn't bother me too much, but I did find it funny that it was like the day prior, you know, you get a huge kudo on something, and then they're like, and we want to thank you for your time here. And you're like, okay, that makes sense. I mean, what are you going to do? Hold it back? Hey, if somebody did something good, reward them. You know,
true.
I think the idea of him coming and saying, you know, hand on heart, Bioshock is going to release is good. It can't really be skewed negative too much. I mean, it's like, I think he was just doing some fixing because of the leadership shit that they've done. Because I guess they cut some people who were in charge. Probably didn't.
It's cool to see the confidence.
Hit a milestone or two.
You know?
It actually didn't hit one milestone for sure, because we had heard about that. But yeah, the confidence. Yeah. Exactly. Dude, because like, let's say your boss gets fired and you question, your head driver and a racing team gets fired, and you're like, oh, we're all fired. And they're like, no, we're looking for other racers. You're fine, dude. You were the one steering the car into a fucking deer.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out, man. Matter of fact, you put some great tires on it, so when he did hit the deer, he turned that thing into a watermelon, man. So we're keeping you. Driver, he's gone. Yeah, I think that stuff's great. The other thing was Digital Foundry left IGN, and to everybody who's watching, yes, Digital Foundry was with IGN, because nobody knew.
I didn't know, dude. I had no idea.
That was funny as hell, because when he said it,
they were
they
a
even joked about that.
Stakeholder, right?
Yeah, it was just sort of the side stakeholder kind of thing. But I thought it was funny as hell, because so many people were like, "Wait, what? Like, we didn't even know they were."
I thought you guys were an independent channel. What?
Yeah, it's great, because Rich, basically, I guess, had figured out it now, like, that there was a good time to try to see if he could buy the shares. I guess the investment somebody had invested.
And apparently he is rich, not only in name, but in fact.
I don't know if he's rich, because I think he even said that this was more than his house, and most people, the house is a payment plan. So by him saying that, I started to parse that, going, you know, I don't see Rich. I mean, Rich is the guy who's got like the echoey walls on his fucking apart. He's like me, where you're just like, hey, if we show up, that's the
functional
good part.
Living.
Functional living. So to me, I feel like probably not. I feel like he probably, I mean, they're obviously going to make money, but they also spend a shit ton on their setup. Like, you can tell when they're flying everywhere, they're going places, they're trying to take care of a ton of games. Makes sense to me that they want to split off on their own, and it's good times. And it also means they can do more retro, which I know is a thing they wanted to do. John wants to do more retro stuff. And as somebody who in no way, shape, or form is interested in the retro stuff, I still think that's awesome, because
still cool to see.
Yeah, because when he was on the podcast, he even told us, he's like, sometimes you get burned out because you're doing something that maybe isn't a great thing. And
or you need to tick boxes like, we need to do this video this month because it's required of us.
Yeah, I think that's great, man. It sounds like
comes across.
It sounds like overall, you know, and if you guys get a chance, you can go watch the video and see. There's not much really that's gone on. It's exactly what I said. It's like they just ended up, you know, coming out from under IGN, but it does help them, and it helps them be as independent as they want to be, because you can't really be super independent if you still have to, you know, even if you're looking for sponsors that meet you halfway, there's still something there, you know. But overall, very excited for them. Very excited for them. And then IGN
By the way,
had layoffs as well. Yes. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. You were so they laid off people?
Yeah, they some I don't know if there were any of their major people, but I saw an alert that they did. But you were gonna ask something.
Well, can I read a couple of super chats?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, because my system is literally down. I can't see it right now.
Oh, really? Okay. So Manuel Armenteros with the 500
with
Dominican
the
pesos.
The pesos.
Those pesos. Yeah, it's not Italian. I don't know why.
That's all right.
I do the hand. He says, what game did you like much more than other people, irrespective of reviews? Thanks for the pod. Have a good weekend, guys. It's an interesting one. Irrespective of reviews. Huh.
State of Decay 2. But see, when I think it, I give games a gap of like 15 to 20 points, maybe 15, scores or steps or 2 steps. So if I said it's a buy and you said it's a wait for a deep sale, I could still talk to you about why we believed there was that big of a gap. State of Decay had a lot of technical issues, but I absolutely adored it. Got a great deal of fun from it. That one scored lower than I expected. I would say almost the majority of the games that I end up playing score higher than I expect. Like where I'll be like, this is like a wait, and somebody would be like, might be the greatest game. Deathloop, for instance, where I'm sitting there trying to figure out what alternate world I had fallen into.
That's a good one because reviews were very positive on it.
I don't even know what's going on with that one.
I felt like I played a different game compared to.
But what about the other side? Like he was originally asking, is there a game that you? Yeah, I feel like there's been a lot of games you and I've joked about, and you've been like, yeah, I really like this game, and I'm like, dude, what? But maybe not score wise.
So lukewarm reviews, but
yeah, that's
a game we liked.
I don't think I remember you bringing up like, hey, there's this lukewarm game I like, because I think we would have talked it. We would know it off the top of our heads if there was a game that, let's say, you really liked but absolutely hated.
Well, let me double check. I think Final Fantasy 15 didn't do very well. Let me just confirm I'm not getting my 15, foot in my mouth.
The one I like? The boy band one?
Yeah.
That one did fine.
Actually, it did fine.
Yeah.
For some reason I thought it got a lot of flack.
Lower. Well, they all get flack, but they're Final Fantasy's impervious to flack unless it's shit, right?
Yeah. No, 16 is super positive as well. Yeah, man. Damn, that's a really good question because I'm sure there are instances of that, but I can't think of any good examples.
It's hard to think of them too because I think, in all honesty, there's, some babies are ugly, so you keep them in the house.
I think an ugly baby that I liked was Dark Tide.
Okay.
Because admittedly, it was a bit of an ugly baby. It has like, it's like this diamond, but it still has all the work ahead
that was
to actually become a diamond. It's like a diamond in the super rough. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No,
but it had
that's a good example.
Really good bones in it and a great foundation that sadly wasn't fleshed out on release. It has gotten a lot better, although I haven't jumped back into it, which is the problem, right? Because like a lot of people won't jump back into it, even though they are putting in work to make it better and better. It's just first impressions, man.
Yeah,
it's a tough one.
And first impressions are rough. What are the other super chats? I'm rebooting
this one from Sully.
Browser. Okay, Sully.
Gotcha. $4.99. Thank you for Johnny's cool hat. Hey, thank you, man.
Did you just fucking super chat yourself?
I promise I didn't. But
no
paid chatter in here. I paid them $5 for that.
That'd be amazing. Pay a bot and be like, Johnny,
like,
looking good.
Hey, bro.
Garrick,
just like,
good.
Here's $5.
I love it.
What is the chance that you come on wearing one of these caps one day? Just surprise everybody.
Absolute zillion to one.
Actually, zero?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baseball caps? Mm-mm. Do you know what? Whenever we did airsoft or hunting, I do like the larger rimmed, like water hat, rain hat, camo rain hat. But yeah, no, no, I'm not a big fan
also
of that
got this
brand
one
in particular for some reason.
No,
or that style. Yeah,
okay.
I don't know why.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's a bit of an acquired
British,
taste.
English. It's just not American as much. You know, we've got our stupid shit. That's the only thing different.
We got another one here from Always Be Cookin', ABC. 30 Poland Zloty is the name of the currency. Donation to the podcast, Don and Johnny.
Oh,
so you are Don.
Yeah, no, the Don from Mafia.
Centaur Leon.
Yeah. Don Centaur Leon.
Let's enjoy the Friday evening with a great podcast.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. What else have we got? Go ahead and read
Dude,
it.
Okay,
give me
no joke. Another paid chatter. Mike Tsui, 10 Canadian.
I know who Mike is.
More money for Johnny's hat.
I knew it. I knew it the moment I mentioned it. There was no chance that wasn't going to happen. Now that I think about it, I should have really set that up better and get even more. But anyway. Good job, buddy. Good job, Mike. Damn it. What else we got before we go to the next? Because we got topics.
We actually got one last one here from Machine XP. $5. Starfield, loved the game, reviewed well too. But online discourse everywhere is typically toxic, and how terrible Bethesda is now.
Now that is true. I had my issues, but I did genuinely like and still continue to play it occasionally and like it. But I will say, if you believed the internet, as the joke goes, it was such a difference between like even the reviews and even the people I'm like that we talk to, or that even friends I know that don't even, really know I do a podcast, like my wife's friend's husband or something, who's like, dude, yeah, playing Starfield. The online discourse around it though was weird, like crazy, like almost chip on your shoulder kind of weird. It was definitely a unique situation. And the same's happened on a couple Sony games as well. It's certainly not just one side where that can occur. But it is that was definitely, I could see if you liked it. Well, again, the scores themselves were genuinely actually higher than I think some people expected. I don't know. That was a weird one too, because I guess it also shows expectations versus delivery versus just fun. They can all be a little bit different, They're all just, but the online chatter about that was weird. I mean, you would have thought it was
hated. It's funny, right? How the discourse
so
sometimes
weird.
Doesn't match.
Yeah. Dude, I saw something somebody else posted that was like, I don't know if they don't know how to use their fucking fingers, like if their parents didn't train them. But they're all, there's zero mods for Starfield. And I'm like, dude, there was like 1,000 new mods that I just saw. Like, what are you talking about? What is going on with this? It is creepy. There's a couple games where I'll see, whether it be a Nintendo game or a choice somebody makes, where you'll see it and you'll be like, okay, I get where the whatever comes from. But you know what I said earlier about hiding your ugly baby? That is a real thing where people are starting to silo. They don't want. So if you basically continue to hammer on somebody, at some point, they're going to do one of two things. One, they're getting inured to it. They don't care, blah, blah, blah. And you just sort of don't get a response. But the other is that they hide their desire to talk about it. It's just gone. And you'll see it in groups of friends where maybe one group of friends is like, I have this, let's say I'm really excited about, chess or whatever. And your friends, the entire group isn't into chess. They don't tease you, but they're not into it.
You won't bring it up.
You won't bring it up as much. But if you're actively attacked, it's not only that you won't bring it up as much, there's a high chance you either over-defend it or you'll just hate everybody talking about it. And what I think going on now with Discords and shit is that people segregate very easily now. It's super easy to segregate. And I mean, even developers push it. They're like, hey, join our Discord. Hey, join the Discord. Hey, join. And Discords don't, that is a siloed area. The data does not leave. So you can't even talk to that person who maybe likes the same thing you like because they don't go to a forum and see your post. There is no post. So like-minded individuals have to almost seek and like find these secret spots to talk that feel safe, which is really weird. Because in the old days, a forum was pretty safe because you would have admins and you'd have people jumping in. But then you have like Reddit, who's, I mean, some of the worst admins you've ever seen, where I'll see people just attacking one another. And you'll be like, dude, seriously, is anybody stepping in? Or like, I mean, a self-help forum a couple days ago, somebody sent me some not self-help, sorry. Yeah, it would be self-help. It was for computers. People were asking questions, and they were being just destroyed for asking the question. And there wasn't like an FAQ that said, here are your top 10 questions. It was like a fucking the most aggressively angry mob of people because the person was all, yeah, I'm having an issue with my BIOS. It was so nuts, man. It was just like, and no wonder that person is like, well, fuck you guys. You know, I don't want any part of this. And I think it leaves a bad taste in your mouth really easily. I mean, which is unfortunate too, because it's happened to me. I've gone to a place and been talking and been like, man, this place is just not. And I don't mean joking. I'm talking where they're like, you know, you ask a question, what the fuck, you stupid? You're like, damn. It's called self-help, you know, or it's called ask for assistance, and you're asking, and they're like, "What a dummy!" But is that it for the super chat? So we can go on to the.
That's it for now.
All right.
Yeah.
Next up, Microsoft halts development on Contraband. So I did talk about this 2 weeks ago. It looks like it finally got out, but yeah, that one had been. I had been told that was pretty much done as of the big cuts, but for whatever reason, the news came out now. So Contraband's also gone away, which sucks. I was sort of interested in Contraband. I thought it looked pretty enjoyable, like as an idea. I don't mean I saw it. I'm saying what they were sort of trying to explain, which seemed to me to be a service game. Yeah. Or at least maybe a service game that like had a little bit of mercenaries in it and a little bit of some other stuff I like Division. There were some things there that I was actually quite enticed to check out. But it doesn't matter because it's fucking gone.
Yeah, and likely didn't have much in place. You know, it's one of these cases we didn't see much about it. That also probably means there wasn't much to show. Yep. Which then makes sense.
Which makes sense, yeah. Yeah. Heretic and
But it sucks, man. Yeah.
Also got definitive remasters, and they came out yesterday. Night Dive and id Software. Surprise dropped them. I'm a huge Hexen and Heretic fan. Man, Sega Saturn, Jesus. But anyway, they are great older games. I don't know the technical or anything. I don't know if they're performing well or performing poorly on systems, you know, or anything like that. But I am excited to actually check them out if I get a chance. I don't know if I'll play an older game like that, but the fact that they're being made and thrown up there is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, so I'm just checking it out. It's Heretic plus Hexen. It's a pack right now for about $15.
Not bad, unless there's some disaster. Not that's.
It's currently
cool
very positive, so I think so far so good. Yeah, I mean it's so people manage their expectations. These are old games, right? And these are like they are not full remakes or anything.
Yeah, they're like port remasters kind of thing.
Remasters,
pseudo remaster. Port package remasterings, portamasterings. They're portamasterings. Next up,
Master. Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta Fox's Hunt online mode gets a release window. Konami confirmed that the competitive mode is landing soon after the remake's late August release. You gonna do Metal Gear Solid, the remake?
I haven't decided yet. Yeah, it really depends on how the game is. It's interesting. Yeah, I think there's a solid chance I will.
Looks like they've done a lot of work too. I mean, like legit, no sarcasm from what I've seen. It looks like they're putting in the work, and that's me talking about a certain company that I've definitely not looked favorably on for most of what they do. So, got to give them a shout out. Next up, Digital Foundry going fully independent. Going to repeat it because apparently my copy paste sucked and I pasted it in twice. So. Digital Foundry.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway. Game Pass adds or removals. This was interesting. Assassin's Creed Mirage and Persona 3 Reload. So Mirage
really? Persona 3?
It's leaving. Persona 3 is already on there. Yeah. So, and sorry, I didn't say the rest because I'm reading what my note was, which is a little fucked up here. But what I was trying to say was Assassin's Creed Mirage, I think, is a great game for Game Pass. So if you guys,
yes,
I liked it. I actually enjoyed it. It's a different take. I actually think it's awesome. For what they were trying to do, I thought it was awesome. So it's coming there, and then Persona 3 Reload's leaving. So is Persona 3 Reload super long like the others? Because it's been too long since. Okay. All right, so hey, guys.
They're all balls long.
Yeah, you better jump in right now if you have a plan to check those out, because Persona 3 apparently is 60 fucking
Time
hours.
is literally running out physically for you to beat that game.
Yeah, and the Heat Death of the Universe is coming up. So, I mean, one or the other.
Yeah. That's
pretty crazy, man. That is a big game. Dude, that's the same thing that, remember when Microsoft did the deal and they out of the blue started getting the Yakuza games? It was such a amazing time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a fuck. Like, people can be mad about Game Pass or whatever. To me, it was such an amazing time to allow people who just didn't know to experiment with those games, the quirkiness, the whatever.
And so many people we saw in our Discord playing those games for the first time.
That's what I'm saying.
Because they were. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so their ability to jump in, it was magical, man.
Yeah.
It's magical. Persona being on there is great. Would I buy Persona? No. But it's great that it's on Game Pass.
Yeah, we saw a bit of that too for Persona. We saw it with Final Fantasy as well, like people playing some of those when the same thing happened with Final Fantasy, where they got all of those on there pretty much.
It is weird. I won't even go there. Yeah. It's awesome to me that those are on there, because the number of people, like you just said, and like I said, that we got to see that just wouldn't have experimented with those. They just wouldn't.
Yeah.
Nothing against them, but the questions of length for some of them are somewhat short. They were sometimes they were 19, other times they were 50 or something, depending. The ability for a person to just experiment with Game Pass or any subscription service, it's still one of the reasons why I know a bunch of my friends play games right now. Like, they play games because they have that ability. They just don't have the money to enjoy as many games as they would like to enjoy, or maybe they got a family or whatever. So they're like, hey, I still want to play games. Oh, there's a subscription, whatever that may be. And I just think it's awesome, man. It's awesome, because there's so many people I get to talk to now where I'm like, all right, what are you playing? They're like, oh, Game Pass, and they're excited. I mean, I know we don't like excitement. Everybody likes to piss on it, but there's something very cool to me when somebody that likes games that's near me is like, I can't wait for this blank.
Well, there's something magical when you discover a whole new franchise.
Oh, dude, it's awesome.
And you play one and you go, dude, where has this been all my life? And suddenly you have 3-4 other games to get into.
Dude, it feels so. You've tried to teach yourself a language, right, other than English, or was it French you learned in school?
I learned Spanish, Portuguese, my original one, and then I learned Catalan, which is like
what were
north
you
of
trying
Spain.
to learn here in the last 2 years? There was something you were taking classes on. You did a master class?
I took a little bit of Unreal 5.
That's what it was. No. So it was Unreal 5. So
yeah.
I don't know if you felt this way, but I can't describe it, but I can tell people that it is like a drug. When you find a hidden thing that feels, it's almost impossible to describe, but it's godlike. So when you find like Unreal, let's say, and you realize you're not going to make a game, maybe you are, but you realize there is an avenue of focus my brain cannot get as bored on, because like going from sci-fi to fantasy, there's still books. But if you're like, I'm jumping in and you find like Unreal, holy shit, I love this, and that awesomeness of doing that. The same, I think, when somebody jumps into a game series like a Persona or whatever, they turn it on, like, I don't think I'll like it. You let them borrow it or whatever, and they start playing it and they're like, oh fuck, dude, Like, what is going? And you see them, now they're on message boards. They're dressing up like waifus. I'm just joking, but you know what I mean? It's awesome, dude.
Yeah. It happens.
It's that shouldn't happen. But
you've described a reasonable.
I've described the exact steps many fans have taken. No, it's so cool to see that, man. And it happens with D&D. I'll be talking to somebody and they're like, I don't think I can do it. Or board games, either one. And then when you get them in, and they realize, holy shit, there's quite literally a world that you always hear about, but you never go in. It's like looking out at the water, never swimming. And then you look under the water and you're like, oh, right. 90% of the world's covered in fucking water. Like there's a whole other world down here. And there's just that feeling of that happening in games so many times.
Yeah,
because I jumped into Yakuza late and I can't tell you what it was like, but it was fucking magical. And I don't even love the games. I mean, I like them. I don't think they're like the greatest of anything, but it was such a cool feeling to go, I have 5 other titles I can play where it's not going to overlap with the other stuff I'm doing. And it feels so good, man. Oh, got some super chats. I didn't see that. Jeff Bose. Jeff Bose. What flavor breath mint, Carrick? What is this? Cinnamon or mint? Cinnamon. Not great, but I have a sore throat that is wicked today. I think it's because we have super high pollen and I'm not allergic to it, but I was outside with the dogs for the last couple of days.
I got some mints, like this super strong that will like.
Oh, dude, you know what I got? No lie, I got to show you something. This is crazy. I got a gamer item that was at our Fred Meyer. It's a menthol stick that you twist the end off and you sniff, and it like clears your sinuses. Whoa. So they were selling it. They're like, it'll give you the energy of a Halo Master Chief. I don't know what the fuck they said, but it was that kind of gamer sniffer is what I call it. But I got to tell you, in the morning, when I wake up, I'm not shoving it up my nose, but I am actually opening it and going, and menthol, does give you that like cool
feeling. Wakes you up a bit? That gives you
I don't know, because they say, I actually went and read some studies. It was like, there's really no like solid on that in particular, but I got to tell you, it does for me. Yeah, it does. Like it feels almost like. Oh
yeah, like smelling salts. Someone is saying like.
Yeah, no, smelling. Okay, so smelling salts is usually a bitterment and ammonia. And I'm telling you right now, there's a video. If you want to know how bad smelling salts are, there's a video of a hockey player that gets the wrong smelling salts. So there's like 1 to 10. There's you're out, unconscious 10, and then there's like 1. You need smelling salts, maybe you got a little head rung or something like that. He gets the wrong one. You see him go. It's that fat, dude. It's amazing. It's so great. Wow. It's so great. That shit is nasty. It isn't like that. This is more just like if you like menthol, like a cold, almost like a cold medicine menthol. Real quick, I'm going to read these super chats. Can't forget Carrick's beanie collection. Solly, $5 super chat. I do have a lot of beanies. Actually, not as many as I need.
Do you have like a bat cave, but instead of suits, you have your beanies? Like,
I have some sweatshirts in a hanger. I'm very utilitarian. I have a couple sweatshirts, couple pair of Levi's, about 15 pair of sweats, because that's all I practice in. Sweats or shorts. And then about 6,000 pairs of socks with about 900 of them destroyed. Because I'll destroy socks in a day, because I am always running through the house and sliding and like doing stupid stuff, or like scooting my feet with the dogs or pretending to dance, and I destroy the bottoms. So I purposely will buy like the 3 for $1 socks.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, 2 days later, and my wife will be like, you fucking destroyed another pair of socks. I'm like, I don't. So we have them for rags now, because there's so many of them just laying around. And then the rest are in boxes. I don't even have a drawer like most people do. Machine XP, $5 super chat says, you know what? I'm changing my Starfield comment. Uh-oh. Here we go. Don't look. Do you think he's going to hate it? Is he changing it? No. He says, Game Pass hate takes the cake. Oh, Game Pass hate. Yeah, Game Pass. That's true. Game Pass hate is weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a good point, man. I hadn't even thought about that. You are right, man.
It's weird, too, because it's very pro-consumer, but a lot of people seem to want it to fail.
Yeah. Dude, there's something... Remember when concern trolling was a thing, when you'd hear that term? concern trolling.
Yeah.
At some point, like, for example, the joke I always make, whenever I hear the term unsustainable, I want it just destroyed from the lexicon, like removed, because it's been so bastardized. It's, at some point, you're just like, dude, seriously, use a different word, whatever. But yeah, that is a weird thing, and people hating on somebody. I've seen it. You've seen it, where somebody will be like, "Man, I can't believe you're bad for gaming. You're doing Game Pass," and you're like, "Jesus Christ, man." More moral inflexibility. It's an odd thing when it comes to that. But yeah, you're right, man. That probably beats your last answer, I would say. It's a good answer. Let's see. What else we got? So looking here. Oh, this is warning me some new news popped too. Give me a second. Now somebody's telling me new news popped. We're going to rate their newsability. We're going to rate if they know what big news is.
Our producer that we for sure have is like talking to us right now in our cans.
That is big news. Ron Ferguson left Blizzard.
Whoa.
Okay. That is actually legitimately crazy. I got to meet Rod too. He's actually, personally, I thought he was actually really, really fucking cool. I know some people don't like him. Damn, he left. Yeah, depart Blizzard and Diablo franchise completely. He does have a tendency, though. He's
been around.
It was Epic, Microsoft, Activision. Was he the guy who would? Let me look him up, because you are right. He does have a little bit of a tenure rod. Maybe he's one of those creators, right? Do you know what I mean? Like he needs to be building. He doesn't want to be in maintenance mode. That's somebody I want on my team. I just want to build another project so he stays with my company. But you know what I mean? Like the people like that are I actually really enjoy.
Yeah.
So let's see.
For sure.
Departs. Let's see. Where does this say his? I'm going to look at his wiki. All right, here we go. Epic. I was right. Okay, so Epic, Gears of War, then Coalition, then Blizzard, and now. Oh, and Black Tusk Coalition is the same thing. And now it says, no. Listen to this. Wait a minute. Oh, no, it doesn't say on Wiki why he's leaving. Damn. Here we go. This is Ron Ferguson. He says, after 5 years of driving the Diablo franchise forward with 4 big launches. What? 4 big launches?
That might be the content updates.
Okay.
I'm guessing. I'm not sure.
I don't like that. 4 big launches. Time for me to step away from Blizzard, Microsoft, sword in hand, and see what's next. The teams are set up for success with an exciting slate of releases. I'm incredibly proud to have to open Twitter to see the rest. I'm incredibly proud of what we've built together and looking forward to what comes next from Diablo. Typical. And then Cliff Bazinski, first one. Great. I appreciate this. First one. He said, best of luck on your next endeavor, mate. Dude, you know what I would love? For Cliff and fucking Rod to get back together and do a game.
Oh, yeah, get the band back together.
Huh. Okay. Questionable you who gave me that alert. You're right. And I was wrong. That was bigger news. I thought you were giving me shit. Sometimes somebody will be like, hey, there's big news on Reddit or wherever you'll go. And they'll be like, Joe Bob tripped while getting an award. You're like, dude, man, crazy. Well, I wish him the best. I actually like him. I think he's pretty cool. Did you see that there was a new trailer for, there was a new deep dive for Chronos, that horror game too, by Bloober Team? Looks pretty fucking sweet.
Yes.
Deep dive into the story.
I did look at that.
I'm excited for that game, man. I'm low-key actually slightly excited. It could.
Does it have a date already?
Anybody in chat, does it have a date already? Because I'm not seeing a date for that. Man, dude, is that September for Chronos? Does that seem too soon for Chronos? Because if it is, that's pretty nuts.
I'm seeing 5th of September.
Okay, there you go.
Chronos the New Dawn.
Nuts it is. Looks like we got nuts. Well, that's good. I mean, in all honesty, I think I think it looks cool. I think it looks actually like all this work that they've done that I haven't liked might actually be might actually be hitting something I do like, because I just really haven't loved their stuff. So,
No, I agree with that. I like the idea of the gravity shifting they have, where, you can shift your gravity pull, and now the ceiling is your floor type thing, and levels are designed around that. I think that always gives for a cool exploration, like layered.
Machine XP says what I say. I want Cliffy to succeed in games again. So do I, man. So listen, Cliffy, here's what pisses me off, man. Cliffy is exactly what we would have all been during the time he saw success. We would have been the same thing. The Fallout boy, the fucking spiky hair, the extreme, everything was Mountain Dew. And people celebrated. I mean, dude, it's just like he made a bad game. I don't know. It's weird. I think that's just one of those sad things where I actually think Cliffy, especially when you hear some of the stories about the creation of the games he worked on, it's like obviously Jazz Jackrabbit is one of the big ones too that a lot of people like him from. He's done a good job. He made a bad game. Whatever. I honestly would be interested if he came back into gaming. Same thing, I like Romero a ton. And, a lot of times people are all, these guys, and they're always going to bring up the bad shit. It's like just a bunch of Debbie Downers. It's like, dude, fucking whatever. Shit happens. I talked about this right at the start of the podcast. Accidentally fucking tip over some water. But it's like, who gives a fuck? It's just there's always somebody who's fucking, somehow they've got a bunch of fucking complaints about everything. It's like, just let him come back and make some games. I think he's probably pretty burned on the gaming industry, though, when it comes down to it. But Rod Ferguson, him. See, here's the problem, Johnny. Games are weird now. I don't know if they'd be able to get funding like they used to.
Yeah.
Used to be a name,
True.
right?
Yeah, without a proper studio, with a track record.
Yeah.
It's getting harder and harder.
I have a hair on my nose is bothering the fuck out of me. Wild One says, yeah, it is. It's like an eyebrow hair or something that crawled down. Did you hear Digital Foundry went independent from IGN? Yeah, we talked about it earlier. God damn, that hair is getting it's itching my nose. Yeah, we saw it.
Yeah.
That'll be the
third time we've mentioned it. John and Rich, right? The original.
No.
Digital Foundry core. Those two guys.
No, there's another guy that.
Because they got some more people on board, obviously, but
true.
Along the way,
I know John more than I know any of them. John's like the one that we've talked to a ton. That's absolutely no, shade or anything. I just never reached out to Rich because I've always been on the forums John was on, and I always saw the treatment John got, and I was always like, this is the weirdest situation ever. And he reacts like I react a certain way, but then it bothers him. And so, that negative feedback loop. And that's why I loved when he came on this podcast. It was, you were here, right?
Or, I think he's great. Yeah, I was actually here.
Were you? Yeah, you were here. Yeah.
I was here too, at least one time.
Cuss? Yes.
And he's great.
I don't fucking hate that. I was like, yeah, you go.
True. Yeah, you wouldn't think from his videos because he's very, diplomatic but he's got some really strong opinions too. But he's just such a genuine guy.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think it might have been the other one that, there's he's very, I think he's European, but there's the one guy that you don't see as much anymore. He occasionally does tech stuff. He's occasionally done some breakdowns.
Alex, maybe?
No, Alex is always on there. There's another guy that I don't see as much anymore.
Switch guy, maybe? He's kind of focused on...
I don't know what that means.
Nintendo a lot?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, that's... Okay. Anything you say will not help categorize it because I know that little about the guy.
You got nothing right now. And
I saw his name a lot, and I liked his presentation. Overall, I'm really happy for him, so yeah. I think technically it'll be good for them. I will say one thing though. What did I say a couple weeks ago? Be prepared. You're going to see a bunch of subscriptions. You're going to see everybody doing 5 subscriptions, 10 patrons, blah, 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 because authority is taken over. And that's exactly what Rich talked about. He was like, yeah, authority is absolutely replacing SEO. And it's like for somebody like them to get out from under IGN and just be able to do their own thing and make whatever choices they want. Like he was talking about his thumbnails. He was like, if we do a catchy thumbnail, it does not help us. It is absolute proof that the thumbnail,
it's anti
the thumbnail has to be aligned with the channel, and
it's the brand of the channel is the clinical, you know.
Yeah, and that's what they're good at, and that's what they want to do. So, and then do their own fun stuff on the side. I celebrate that. So yeah, very cool for them. Moving on from there though to some other amazing stuff. The guy who interviewed Cerny. Did this? I don't know. He almost sounded Australian. This Australian kid interview Cerny? I don't see him very often anymore. So I was actually wondering if he left Digital Foundry. Yeah, it's an interesting situation there because they've got to pay now. Whenever you go off on your own, you have to pay for 5-6 people's wages, which is rough. Think about that.
That is true.
Yeah, you don't
a lot of pressure.
Yeah, you don't have maybe as much restrictions, but you also have a shit ton more pressure to make sure that things get paid. You know, things get taken care of.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting paid, dude, if you had to guess your full monetary in pounds, you can use your fucked up pounds. You don't have to use the proper dollar. What would you say the total amount of in pounds you spent on games in your life? Now,
1 million? No.
No, dude. This means skins, right? It means everything. Subscriptions included. Okay? So what I mean by that is, obviously we're not going to go fact check, but I'm just saying, what do you think? You know, every game... The subscriptions that you probably pay. Let's say this. You don't have to include Netflix if Netflix has games on them and you never played the game on Netflix, right? We're not talking about that. But I mean, just like if you took Game Pass, do you pay for Game Pass? You don't do Game Pass right now. Okay. So you don't have Game Pass.
Yeah.
So these are mostly just straight purchases, right? You don't have any subscriptions.
Yeah, mostly like
currently. Okay.
Steam is where I have most.
Steam. What about good old games? Or GT2 if you used to buy codes, which is fine. People.
I have a few like in Ubisoft and stuff, but really the bulk is Steam, which is around 350 games. So that's not panning too well for my money spent right there.
I mean, not terrible. How long have you been in? When was
let's do a little back of the napkin.
Yeah, go for it.
Let's assume an average $30 per game, because some are going to be really cheap and then others are going to be full price.
And at $350, I would assume you're paying closer to full price than you were because you don't have a shit ton. You don't have 3,000. So I think $350.
Okay. So let's say 30.
I'm saying your number's perfect. I'm saying the number you picked was perfect. Middle. It fits exactly what I was thinking for your.
That amounts to, well, I said back of the napkin, but I did it in the calculator. So, just cards on the table, guys.
Yeah.
10,500.
Not bad.
Bucks.
That's
dude.
How long you been gaming? Like,
but I've been playing guitar for longer, and I've spent
more.
I've spent more. Yeah.
Yeah.
It checks out. It's a hobby, man. That is a lot of money.
So I don't seek sales. I didn't seek them prior. I am okay with paying full price if I want something, and I won't. Yeah. I won't like drive across town if I find something's $5 cheaper. Blah blah blah. So I was looking at mine. I do the subscriptions. So like it'd be difficult to say what I would have paid if there weren't subscriptions, because I do play a lot of games that are on a Game Pass or whatever, and I'm like, holy shit, I really like this. But I would say 10,000 for you still, because I haven't done my math yet. I would say 10,000. That seems stunningly low. That seems like insanely what's the term? Like frugal. Because if you look at it, If you look at the amount of time, you look that you're living alone, and living alone can be a negative for money, but I wouldn't say for you it is.
And that's also like 20 years.
It's 20 years. Yeah.
That I've been, out of university with my own money buying games kind of thing.
Yeah. And the idea that you just said it, and I think it's true, that's why I said it right away, was I'm pretty sure you've spent more on music, right?
Yeah.
So listen to this. I've definitely spent more on airsoft than games by a
that's
gargantuan
pricey.
Gaussian, like it's not even in the same games as compared to airsoft because it's like a physical thing. Like D&D, massively more. Books, massively more. Yeah, D&D.
So the books are pricey, are they? Because they're big.
Yeah, they're $30 a book, and I mean. Yeah.
That says a lot about the number of books, man.
And the number of books I still have, some of them second or third purchase because I donated the original and then was like, because I love reading source books for D&D games. So I'll just go back and grab like 10 and just sit and read books for like the D&D books.
So dude, your neural network has been trained on like hundreds of D&D books. You have all
D&D
this
books? Yes.
Like,
yeah.
You have all the tokens in your head, man.
That it used to be a joke that I was the store and you would come to me to get a book and not the store. And that is absolutely true because when a new line would release, I was the kid, like a video game. If you're a Persona fan, new game comes out. Well, D&D isn't like that. D&D will have the major game player's guide, the DM's guide, a monster manual. I'm not that type of D&D fan. I don't really necessarily like normal D&D, but I'm saying most game companies do that. And then you get something like Riffs, which is like upwards of 100 and some source books, and I own every single source book they've ever done, times probably 3, where I bought them or rebought them or sold them and given them away, bought them, blah, blah, blah. And that's one line of 60 or 70 lines of books. I'll just say it's bad enough that right now one room is just solid. One entire side is books laying on their edge, just stacked.
Wow.
Yeah, we just looked at it yesterday, and I was like, "That's like a hoarder's house." I got it. But the problem
you got a lot of books when you go stacked, because that's like
But the problem is I'm going to donate them and then buy them again because I will. I love the random generator of walking in there and going like, "Oh shit, this is a original, Werewolf the fucking Rage book hardcover." With the old stuff that now is considered sort of racially insensitive because they were taking sort of the spirit idea. And so there's some Native American stuff that now is like supposedly you can't like Native American stuff if you're a white person, which I love the stuff in that book. And so I kept that one. And yeah, there's a shit ton, man. There's a shit ton. Yeah, I love those. I probably spent more on books than video games. Oh, the other thing is movies. For sure spent more on movies. And I mean holding physical movies, DVDs.
Like
Blu-ray.
Box sets.
Yeah, I don't do them anymore, but I would say when we went to pack them up last month, I looked at all the giant plastic bins I had to donate, and each one was stacked, and I think we have 11 bins. So there's like, and there, I bought a lot on the cheap, like Amazon would sell like Lethal Weapon 1 and 2, and these CDs.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Were the Chinese printed, manufactured, barely put together CD. They probably read one time before they failed.
The menu was one of those generic templated.
Like you ripped it with VLC player and shit. Yeah, I have so many of those where even the outside isn't plastic. It's like paper, and it has this odd flip tab that's just, it screams made in somebody's, like sex dungeon. Well, maybe not.
Yeah,
that, but
there is something about the box sets. So I have one for Fringe, a couple others that I love.
James Bond, Fringe, Threshold, couple cartoons. Those are great too because they have behind the scenes. Behind the scenes are such a masterpiece thing that aren't celebrated anymore. But I used to adore getting a movie, and before I'd watch the movie, because I'd probably already seen it, I would watch the behind the scenes, the making of, the little featurettes. Oh man, so good. Hearing like the actors talk about scenes and stuff like that was my jam. And I mean, some DVDs still have it, but I'm not buying a DVD. I don't even have a player.
Yeah, Netflix sometimes has a bit of those.
There, somebody in here told me there's a website too that like has it either has them archived or it's a place where they actually, maybe it's the legit place. I can't remember. Somebody was mentioning it to me one day when I said I liked them so much. It might have been Sleeve was telling me that there was a cool place for that. But yeah, those are great, man. I do physical books plus audiobook. Oh yeah, audiobooks add up. Well, I'm not a drinker much anymore. I could imagine how much people spend on booze. Hadn't thought about that. I wasn't even thinking of the vices of life. I mean,
yeah, that can be an expensive.
Yeah, but that can be expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my God, pop. I will never try to figure that number out.
Oh, dude.
I don't even want to go there as a thought process because I don't feel it's a vice. Cause I don't smoke, I don't drink. So it's like, I like my pop. So I'm not going to,
I mean, dude, even stuff like Audible, I think I've had it for 10 years, man.
Did you see did I send you a picture of my Audible for just the last like 2 weeks that I had read on Audible?
Dude, yes.
Yeah,
dude.
I'm
you've been mainlining.
I love Audible.
I mean, if you just paid the normal subscription for 10 years, that's already like, what, $2,000?
Probably.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, their time they take, right, is so long to get through one that it's crazy that you can still even do it. Vapor Blood says Warhammer Tabletop. Yeah, Warhammer Tabletop. I've got a lot of miniatures. Those can get expensive as shit. Fast food has probably destroyed my pockets more than anything. Oh, true. I hadn't thought. I mean, yeah, we're not. That's not really what we're talking about. But yeah, I would agree with you. Same thing with me. That's why I'm not going to try to figure that out because that'd be ridiculous. Yeah, food is. I mean, what do you get? You know, fast food still
Pop-Tarts.
Food.
Money spent on Pop-Tarts.
Dude, I don't even do Pop-Tarts anymore. It's crazy. Oh, by the way, you wanted to talk about, you were saying science or something? Because I think we're done with the news. That was it. We didn't have it's pretty laid back. Go for it.
Yeah, I'll double check if we missed something. But
yes, please do.
What I wanted to bring up, and this is a bit of I'm trying to join like gaming with something a bit sciencey, which is this idea of reality only being rendered when you inspect it. We kind of dropped this in passing the other day. This happens in games sometimes, right? Where you know, if you're not looking at an area, it might not be rendered, actually. Some of it is because otherwise it would be too much work, but it could be that textures are not loaded in and this type of stuff. And we see this really often when you move your camera fast and like a texture is popping into existence, right? Or something. And that reminded me of that thing we said where there's this little bit like pothead idea of, dude, what if, you know, stuff only instantiates itself into existence when you look at it? And at some level, that is true, right? When you think about like the quantum level, so we know that some stuff only collapses when you measure it. But that's very different than seeing something at a macroscopic level. So those things are not connected, right? So it might be that in some way, only when you measure stuff, it fully, you know, comes into its like collapsed version, like we see in quantum mechanics. But when it comes to macroscopic objects, it's not as if my table doesn't exist if someone doesn't look at it, right? The table's still there. And I was thinking, does this whole idea tie into the simulation hypothesis? Is the idea that the simulation is like saving processing power or something? If nobody's looking at the moon, do you know what? Let's not worry about the rock textures. They don't have telescopes to look at it yet.
We don't care.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never heard that. All I've ever heard is, so I've never heard that once you see it and you know, you qualify that it's there with whatever test it's there. I've never heard that it goes away. That is a pothead thing, which is fine. Like that's what, like, let's say a theorist would do.
It's like, dude, what if?
What if?
You know,
what has gone on, and so what we hit on a little bit is that weirdly enough, some of the stuff when we look farther shows up, and we should see it prior and be able to look at old records that we're looking at the same stuff or should have seen it, and we don't. which then causes all kinds of questions of like distance, time, you know, and how it's from bits is the, I think Wheeler, Wheeler did it's from bit. I think it was Wheeler's it from bit theory, which is that basically the universe creates, if you believe in simulation theory, the simulation theory here is just simply that it's the bits of, that every part of the universe is bits of data, and that's created, and it doesn't necessarily indicate that you need to see it somewhere else, which is why it lands a little bit where Krauss landed with membranes, where Krauss was talking about you could quite literally change all physics in a different part of the universe, and it would in no way, shape, or form impact other places because of the distances and how far you can see and what it can do. And it's more of a thought process of that. But it was cool. It was cool when it comes to like the 44-minute object, where every 44 minutes for 2 minutes it shows about. They're like, that is very odd that there were no indicators, that we didn't even see that there was that, which is weird, because technically you wouldn't have to, it would still be showing everything else we see for the most part, gravitational waves. It's like, okay, we're seeing the impacts of this, or particles in the accelerator where they do their math and they're like, we know there's a particle, right? But there's a couple things that no matter what we do, we can't figure out. No matter what we do, doesn't seem to be reflected anywhere, whether that be like gravity being weak, where there's always discussion about like why can like a magnet defeat Earth's gravity? Like, it doesn't seem like it fits in line with all of the other stuff. And then you start looking at other things. That's why originally they were like, oh, it's graviton particles, all this kind of crazy shit. There are a couple things that when they look super far into the distance, which is like the Hubble tension, which is a pretty big deal. Hubble tension probably is changing stuff. So I would say when I was growing up, every book I ever had said Pluto was a planet. Every book I had, most books I had said black holes were theorized. They definitely had pictures of what they thought were them. All the math was done, but we just didn't have the sensors. And then they still didn't know about some planets. I mean, you're talking about 1985. So you have to go back then and go, the data, what we had for computers, what we could sense, even your processing of an image. Let's say you have a telescope that's taking digital data. You're like, well, we still don't have a processor that can remove noise, all that kind of stuff. So you start to figure that shit out. But Hubble tension and shit, I mean, like, it seems like that's pretty much causing it's a pretty big argument amongst, like astroscientists of like what exact physicists, as well as like just sort of even bio, but they're looking at it going, some numbers are way off. Yeah. And I don't know if you remember this, but about 10 years ago, they started going, dude, there's a star that's like 19 billion years old. The universe isn't that old. What the fuck is going on? And I remember even as a kid going, well, could it mean that like when the Big Bang happened, did time work different? And so it appears a certain way to us, but accelerated
it's progressed differently for it in some way.
Yeah. And then there was a study that came out a couple years ago where they were like, they looked at the way everything is, and they were like, it's possible that there's a slight deviation in time that continues to grow larger over eons you and I can't even fathom. So it's like maybe that kind of stuff is possible. Then they figured out the thing with the star. They figured that they figured the thing out with the star, but then the Hubble tension came up. Now they're like, shit. Or the Great Attractor. The Great Attractor is gnarly because that is basically a series of solar system stars and galaxies that are so big that gravity shouldn't contain them. But mathematically, when you look at them in your systems and your instruments, they are being held together. And there's absolutely no reason, even with dark matter, that they should be. So there's like all kinds of questions like, why are those, it should be uniform, which is also always confused me. When they talk about the Big Bang and they say it should be uniform, I'm always like, dude, look at an atomic bomb, for instance. Even if you remove all of the debris and stuff and you look at just the base core, there's still jaggies and shit just because of the way things work and the way they push against each other. So I've never understood why they think it should be almost perfectly uniform. It's obviously not. But that's been interesting too. The Hubble tension in particular has been super interesting because that's like, depending on the delta, which is the difference between the two numbers, and their belief in that there's a problem, and they say like this is this much of a difference between what we expected, and if it's big, like 2 or 3, then they start looking at it going, fuck, I think our numbers are off. It definitely feels like this one's, their numbers are off enough that like we'll have to redo some of our theories on gravity, theories on dark matter, that kind of stuff, which is cool.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. I mean, it doesn't mean tomorrow you're going to wake up and your milk's gone sour. Like you and I won't notice
like we were
it's
saying
just,
for the macroscopic stuff.
And we are macroscopic. I mean, we are microscopic technically. If you look at like the size of everything, like we're not going to be.
Yeah.
You know, we're not going to be affected.
Yeah, and there's an emergence thing where stuff at the macroscopic level obeys different laws than, the atomic or subatomic stuff. And so, you don't need to know how quarks work to understand an emotion.
Right.
Right? Like for you, love is a real thing, presumably. And that doesn't mean it maps to something at the quantum level or whatever. You know what I mean? There's some of these are just things that make sense to us as beings, but
Jeff Bosman, $5 super chat. I can get down with simulation theory. Y'all ever seen someone T-pose like the NPCs in Launch Cyberpunk 2077? There you go. It's exactly correct. You know what's even weirder? There weren't quarks in they were assumed in the books I read when I was a kid for science, but quarks up, down, left, right, they weren't even there was no, at the time there was no idea how deep that would even, how it would even matter.
Yeah.
It's even crazier too when you realize that the first theories of atoms was well before anything else. Like when you go back and read documentation, these guys are like fighting off cholera and bats, and somebody's all, what about these, things that are smaller than anything that create and you're just like, dude, what was that guy smoking? That was if it was Joe Rogan podcast, he'd be like, it was DMT, it opened his brain.
Even when I was in school, which was in high school, atoms, as if the smallest particles were protons and electrons, and you had the picture of the planets. They looked like planets, basically, right? With the orbits and stuff. That was the picture I was being taught even not that long ago. So,
yeah. No, I mean, that's what's exciting to me is I love that kind of stuff. I also love because, I mean, the same thing can be said, you start getting quantum computers. That's interesting. I just like looking out and in and trying to figure out what people are also trying to figure out. And then if you get a really good communicator, you've got, Kyle Hill does more of the goofy stuff, but he covers a lot of current shit. And then you have like Cool Worlds who covers a bunch of stuff. And then you go the other way and you start looking at quantum computers, and there's a lot of good creators that are covering that. What I like is when you don't have to dumb down, but you get those guys who are able to do a long discussion about it. And you can sort of figure out what it means. Because if somebody says quantum computer to you, or, well, not to you, but to most people, they might think it's a fucking computer in front of them. And so they're worried that some, terrorist has a quantum computer sitting in front of them, or it's a fucking laptop with a leather case around it, and you're just like, no, dude, it's not. And so I love that kind of stuff. I love looking at, just trying to understand that kind of thing is always fascinating to me. Because I've always been into space, man. I love the idea. I mean, I don't care. Dude, Cool World shatters my dreams every fucking video he does, and I'll still watch him religiously. I was going to say that,
but exactly.
He'll be like, here's why space or fucking, faster than light travel can't work. And you'll be like, dude, come on, man.
Yeah, it's funny. I was going to say exactly that, because these videos are informative to the point where they just break all your hopes and dreams. Like, did you think there was going to be some amazing propulsion system that we're coming up with? No, the best shit we got is a lame solar sail that cannot decelerate, and you're just going to like fly by
a micro meteorite would fucking go through the sail in a second. You're like, shit, man.
Instantly destroyed.
I love it.
And you're going to have like 1 microsecond to take a picture, and then you're already, way past.
Yeah. Okay, I know the one. I know the exact video you're talking about. I know the exact video where he's like, and he's like, the only way to do it would be to do, which I'm a firm believer in, do a shit ton of small ones and hope that the process
and that
of
makes sense, right?
Yeah, it makes sense.
But it is a bit depressing when you think back to, well, at least me growing up, it's, it's Star Wars, Star Trek, it's the warp drive and all this stuff. Like, dude, let's just like bend space-time behind the ship and then like, propel and use that, all this stuff.
Even when you look at like chirality and stuff like that for a, so you'll get people who they'll be playing Mass Effect and they're like, hey, I want to be able to, bang every alien or whatever. And in movies and all that kind of stuff, you have like alien babies or whatever. And it's just like, we can't even, we have great difficulty even getting likewise species on our own planet's DNA to even work out. Like,
true.
99% of it won't work out. But if it doesn't, yeah. And then you talk about chirality, which does bother me because there is no indicator that right side or left side chirality has any kind of like specific reason. So you could go to a planet, it looks identical to ours, you sit down, everything's poisonous. Everything will kill you. And you're just like, oh, man.
You will die instantly.
Which wasn't covered in the science fiction books I read, where you just show up and you're like, hey, trees, plants, that guy looks like a person. This is great. And you go over and they're like, here's
33
a fruit.
things will kill you before you can even...
Bro, imagine that YouTube video. Like, you would be dead. And say, look at what happens 2 minutes in. And as I just land and melt. But I do like that kind of stuff. But the frustration level mounts because I do sometimes wonder if we're removing wonder too much. Same thing happens in games when people start talking pseudo-intellectually about game development and stuff like that. I'm like, well, technically, Halo had the best AI. And then when something's not perfect in the next thing, I also wonder if we remove wonder, because if you start removing the chance of doing anything, we can't time travel? Nope. We can't space travel? Nope. After a while, as a kid, I can tell you as a child, the big story you would always hear is that most kids wanted to be astronauts. It's not it. Do you know what most kids want to be now? Did you see that? The study?
YouTubers?
Yeah. Yep.
That's
and
a little
not just
depressing.
YouTubers. It's like the top 10 were different versions of YouTubers and influencers. And you're like, fuck. Now, admittedly, hey, you do you, whatever. It shows that's just life. But when I was growing up, it was astronaut, or you'd see the Iron Man. I can't remember his real name, but he was a test pilot. He tested a lot of American jet planes, and I was growing up, and I was like, "Holy shit, that's that would be great. Holy shit, what if you could go to another planet?" I do sometimes wonder what happens if you continually. It's not shattered dreams, but if you bring somebody to reality, I got to a lot of cool places because I thought things were possible that weren't. And the side thing I found enjoyable, I got to and would never have got to if I had not tried if I would not aimed for something that later on you're like, oh yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah. And now the starting point is that all this information is available. So even as a kid, you already know that, blue sexy aliens, probably not a thing. No warp drive. Can't use like entangled particles to communicate faster than the speed of light.
He
all this stuff.
He shit on entangled particles being used for. By the way, was one of the very few one of the very few texts that if you listen to it on the outside, you're like, oh. That's
the
work.
one thing that's still
the one thing. Yes. Dude, I watched that video and he's like, actually, that's not how, and he started describing it.
Somebody specifically proved that is impossible, which is, great. Thanks guys for,
thanks shitheads. Dude, it's just such a shitter.
I mean, it's also like, since we went to the moon, because we did go to the moon, right, Jeremy?
Yes.
Level of confidence. Yeah, we did.
1,000. Fuck. Yeah. Dude, just don't even. Yes. Anyway, continue.
Dude, what if?
But what were you saying?
Oh, man. Since we went to the moon, we've done precious little outside of the space station stuff.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm wondering if it takes that level of external pressure from the Cold War and everything for us to get shit done. It just seems like the excitement of being a pioneer in space, it only takes you so far. You need those really tangible pressures to get you to do something.
I had originally thought the same thing. So, especially because if you listen to somebody like Neil deGrasse Tyson, he'll be like, we went to the moon and we no need to go back. We should, just go here or go there or, blah, blah, blah. We haven't done anything. Not only have we done a shit ton and it's been more insular, but once you actually look at a mathematical calculation, you look at any kind of diagram about how far away the first planet is from us, from the moon, you then realize why we've only made it to the moon. Just the trip so the trip between us to the moon, the length of time is dangerous. You have a couple places of radiation, what have you. Obviously have food and all that, but it's a couple days. Like days. Then you're talking many, 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 many months to get to and that's when you start going like, oh, that's why we haven't, I mean, and by the way,
any number of small things can go wrong.
We fucked up math and feet and yards one time too. So if I was going to Mars, I want to be like, dude, are we all agreeing that we're going to go meters?
Can we double check the units, guys? Like,
it's a crazy one. And non-tube, a non-tube, $5 super chat. Thank you very much for the super chat. As always, thanks to everybody. Wanted to ask if you played the Siberia series back in the day and lately the fourth game. Also, there's a remastered Siberia. Yes, not the recent game, but I'm a huge fan of the Siberia games. They're not the greatest. I just mean I'm a fan. There's been a couple that weren't amazing, but I like those kind of games. I like the, what do we call them? I guess you'd call them like mysterious walking simulator games, sort of, with some puzzles.
Yeah,
huge fan of those. In fact, I would say 90% of my discussion with Reg is about those kind of games. It's just he likes them, I like them. There's something about them that I really enjoy, especially when they're done well. Just taking off is tough to ask. Just ask Musk and SpaceX. That's true. What were you saying?
Like Ethan Finch, the murder
the vanishing the
vanishing,
that one. No, there's the vanishing of Ethan Carter, which is
Ethan
the one
Carter.
I loved. Then there's
it's great,
something of Edith Finch, which is the other one.
Oh, okay. No, that one I disliked. That one was
not as hot on that one either, to be honest. But I played it late, so there could have been a, just
and it had a cult following, so I'm sure I missed the point of it.
And there were a lot of those for a while. There was Station, I think one was called, that was a little odd. There's a place, maybe that was a PlayStation specific one, but there were a lot that were coming out that were like trying to hit. And that's why during the heyday of getting money by just having a good idea, I really did enjoy those times. Those were the heady times of like, you would get a lot of these game experiments because the money was there. The investment that's gone to AI or gone to computer chips, the money that's there from the investors that people never wanted to really like. I don't think they should be. Well, they should be lauded, some of them, because some of them gave money to creators. They were patrons, basically. There were certain people out there. There's still a couple guys on LinkedIn who their only job is they get a slice of money from their major company to invest in video games. That's their only job, is to figure out if there's a game out there to invest in, as I guess you would consider it art, because the company has no plans that money is going to magically make them millions. It's just, in fact, there isn't the restrictions of you have to do this or this, but there is the restrictions that your idea has to be much more profoundly set up and put together. And the guy who did I Hate Your Game, he did it on GDC. It's called I Hate Your Game like idea or something like that. And he was one of them. And he was talking about if you want to show a game idea off to somebody, the steps you should take and how difficult it is now. It's compared to the past, just like 2 years ago. It's like a wasteland, and the ability to get a game made by, let's say, almost in a way going to the bank and telling you have a good idea is super low. Where in the past you can just say, I've got maybe an actor friend who says he might do. That's why I'm excited about Matthew McConaughey, dude. The fact that guy's so into that game is. You're just like, dude, I hope this game turns out well. Is that dog going to the bathroom? It turns out well. Like, it's awesome. He is. I'll be right back. What else do we got?
No problem.
Let's do the
I got
Discord
some questions if you like.
Go for it.
Yeah. All right. So the good people in the Discord, for anybody who doesn't know, you can become a member on YouTube or join the Patreon on the lowest tier, I believe. Get access to the Discord. You can chat with us, voice chats, all this kind of good stuff. And you get to ask questions in the questions thread. So we got a few here. This one from Knucklehead. He says, is there a movie that when it released, you thought was going to have a much bigger lasting impact, but instead ended up falling off pretty quickly? For me, Face Off with Travolta and Cage was that movie. Watching it as a kid, I thought it was going to be huge, but I barely hear anyone talk about it anymore. Cheers. Have a great weekend, guys. Dude, not only did it not fall off, by the way, but even me, I was born in 1988. So I was way too young when that movie came out, but I watched it long after it came out. And still to this day, I have conversations about that movie with a friend of mine who both her and me were fans of like Nick Cage and stuff. And we talk shit about it. But yeah, that movie is a full-on classic.
Yeah, that one.
I don't know if I can think.
The other one for me,
examples?
Way of the Gun. Yeah, Way of the Gun. Way of the Gun. It was during or closer to Pulp Fiction than anything else, which is probably why it didn't explode. But Way of the Gun was fucking incredible. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, and I remember the number of people who haven't seen that, is 100% when I meet them. Like if I just anybody I talk to, I'll be like, "Do you like these kind of movies?" "Oh yeah, I love them." Blah blah blah. Have you ever heard of Way of the Gun? The what? I'll be like, "Well, it's Benicio del Toro." First of all, like that's weird that people don't look back on his library and go, "Oh shit!" And yeah, it's a great movie.
I remember watching a movie called Kung Po as a kid.
Yeah,
Kung Pao or something.
Kung Pao. It's the comedy.
Kung Pao. It is the comedy. Yeah, so it's a parody of Asian martial arts movies and stuff, similar to like Scary Movie. So think Scary Movie, but for martial arts Asian movies. I couldn't stop laughing at that movie, and I thought it was going to start the whole like genre.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, of like
parodies. Yeah, about those movies, and we didn't see that many. I mean, you have the B movies that are meant to be funny, like from Jackie Chan. They're great, but I wouldn't really put them in the same style of category because the humor was distinctly Leslie Nielsen
slapstick.
Scary Movie slapstick stuff. Yeah,
that was great, man. Those were good times though. What else we got?
This one from Bowser. What sort of things do you look for or want to feel in games of genres you don't generally like? For me, Expedition 33 was one of them games that seemed to give me more freedom, even though it's still a turn-based game.
So, like, what would entice us for a game that is out of a genre? Like, what would entice us to a genre we don't normally engage with? Is that what he's saying?
Oh,
I think that's what he's saying.
I think you nailed it. Yeah. So, is it like if this one thing was added to a game of this genre, you would
come up with that? Yeah,
you would gravitate to it. Oh, that's a good one, man.
First of all, I'm trying to come up with a genre I truly hate. And it's okay. What would get me to play a soccer game? That's it.
Titties? No, I'm joking.
Yeah, no.
I mean, no.
What would get me to play a soccer game? That's probably wow.
Maybe some fantasy element if it's like Warhammer.
Okay, yeah. Football. So that's exactly right. So I'm a big fan of Blood Bowl, and I was since its very first, and Mutant League Football from the Sega Genesis and stuff like that. So I would say that is absolutely right. If soccer had like randomly placed landmines and elves and dwarves, and it was a little like Blood Bowl, there is a chance. I genuinely do not like the sport itself and its pacing. Maybe that's because I'm goal-oriented, actual goals, and sometimes you won't have a ton, but you still have a ton of action. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I don't worry about it too much. But yeah, I would say that would definitely get me to be more interested if they did a Mutant League. Because they did Mutant League Football, Mutant League. There was 3 or 4, man. It was there a baseball? I think there was. So that would Mutant League Soccer. Yes, I would. That would actually get me highly interested in it. Yeah, it's a good. Damn, hadn't thought about that one. What about you? Is there any genre?
I think we solved it. That's a really good one. I don't think I have anything that interesting. Trying to see. Maybe fighting games, because I've never managed to get into them. I think it's always been the lack of story, and the ones that I've liked have had some kind of cool story that I could play through. Like Injustice was really good.
Oh yeah,
in the way they integrated that, and a couple of Mortal Kombats I've enjoyed, but it's
yeah. I can fully side with if a game that's a fighting game, which I love, like Virtual Fighter's coming out, but I already know Virtual Fighter Story is going to suck balls. They don't
terrible. Really focus on that. But that looked amazing, by the way. Just the gameplay.
It did, but I do believe that at some point you got to up your game. At some point,
I think so.
At some point, if you look at Injustice, you can't tell me that the number of people who were never fighting game fans who continued to play it or jumped into it aren't an indicator that there is a unmarked fan base that could be rewarded for that and get enjoyment out of that, and also still contain your normal fighting game chops in the fighting game area. Their stories are so bad, Johnny. It's ridiculous. And I mean it. So dude, I don't get offended by games.
I ran into you at the mall.
But I'm telling you,
fight.
That would be way better than what goes on in like Virtual Fighter 2 and 3, where you're just like, what? He's fighting a liquid metal. Dude, it's fucking terrible, man. It's terrible. So I could see why you liked Injustice. And Mortal Kombat's great because Mortal Kombat also does the one thing so many Mortal Kombat's done this before, but I got to explain. Mortal Kombat was one of the first games. I played the originals, but it was one of the first games to show that having a hard drive or having consoles with a static consumer sitting in front of it without putting quarters in it could change the game ultimately. For example, 3 or 4 of their games had 3 game modes in there. So you would get your fighting game, you would get a kingdom-style game, and you would get a puzzle fighter in one game. And I cannot tell you, it didn't have to be the best of the best. It was the fact that it understood the fiction, so the characters were fat. They were the Final Fantasy little fatties. And you would do puzzle fighter. And then another one had like a 3D adventure and kart racing. The other one had you create your own martial art. That kind of shit was the push that I want to see. And I have nothing against Tekken, really, but it's like, or Virtual Fighter, I can't wait to play it. But that's not because I'm super excited that it's brand new and I think it'll be different. In fact, it's more like, well, that's cool. They're doing a new one. That's great. But I would love to see them do a story, like a full fucking, I would be like, dude, this is the greatest thing ever. You're fucking balls out with whoever you want to choose for your character. It doesn't even have to be all the characters if you want to just do one story. Injustice nailed it. Now, they have comic books, which I think is...
makes it easier.
Yeah.
And if it's an established IP, that's also...
Yeah. They had a little bit of a cheat code there, but they did a good job. What else we got?
This one from Sully. He says, what was your first holy shit gaming experience where it seemed like an evolution, big or small, was about to take place? For me, it was WCW Mayhem. I think it was Nintendo 64 when you could leave the arena and go backstage. We were so hyped for that. Then again, with Mortal Kombat Deception's Conquest mode, at the time, that was legendary to us.
That's what I was just talking about. That's weird timing. That is what I was talking about. Yeah. He's talking about Mortal Kombat. Yes, that's awesome.
Wow.
That's weird. Yeah. That is what I was talking about.
Yeah, so like a evolution. So something that seemed like a step change.
Like a hard drive in
inflection.
In Blinks, I think it was, Time Cat, where you could reverse time and the bridge would be there. Then you'd destroy it. Then you'd build it back up, run across it, then reverse time or forward time again. and it would be destroyed and the enemy would fall off. Like I remember being like, oh, that was cool. But my first one was voice in a game, for sure. Like when I heard voice in a game, I remember being like, oh, no more this scratchy, somebody's got a sore throat, fucking.
True. Dude, like full on cutscenes with voice acting. That was huge, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like for people like myself who used to play Final Fantasy and stuff, for the longest time, it was just no voice acting. You know, you'd have some cutscenes, but they were very, very simple and no voice acting. And then Final Fantasy X came along, and for the first time ever, we had like full voice acting.
So good.
That was insane. Yeah.
I remember Sega CD had like Night Trap, Sewer Shark. They were the FMV games. And I like, obviously you could tell they weren't real. They were, codec was really low. But it didn't matter. It was like you could tell. You'd be like, holy shit, man. This is like, we can now put audio, we can put voices to things. We can do real music, which, by the way, I have no issue. Some of my favorite soundtracks when I was a kid were the MIDI soundtracks.
Some great MIDI
Absolutely.
soundtrack.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
But Austin Wintory shows up and does a fucking like, or Justin or Elijah Chuck, they'll show up and they do a soundtrack. And I'm like, this is everything I've ever like. This is at the, you know, when people talk about like games or like, you know, bigger than movies or whatever, great. But we have been behind on a lot of stuff, and we were behind for a long time in music in particular, where like I love that kind of stuff, but it didn't give me the same feeling as like Outcast, the original Outcast. When I heard like the orchestra start up, I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. But I like audio, so I mean, that's probably why.
Well, yeah, but I think factually, the game has been upped when it comes to OSTs. You know, games like Ori and the Blind Forest.
Ori and the Blind Forest. Yeah.
You know,
dude.
Journey. I mean, we could name so many, right?
Abzu.
Where you remember the game, Abzu. You remember the game by the soundtrack.
Yes, you do.
At times.
Yeah. Yep.
Or at least, you know, you can hear the first few notes. Dude, and you're already recognizing.
And that's what pissed me off so much, man. Because like before I got it, that was the reason why I started reviewing, is because I was seeing people on forums talking about buying OSTs, and no review, by the way, of all the reviews for Mafia, I did the numbers. 9 didn't mention music. 5 didn't mention the sounds at all. And I was like, well, god damn, music in particular seems like that would sort of be an important thing. And 2 didn't mention the voice, which is even weirder, but we'll move on from that. That's a serious miss. But dude, I remember going like, oh man, you know, nobody's talking about voice, but we're all buying OSTs. Like OSTs had special editions, blah, 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 but nobody's talking about if it's even good or if there's issues with it or even just why it's good. You know, it doesn't even have to be critiquey, pinky up and be like, their saxophone is out of... That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about covering the fucking thing that obviously gamers had been doing for 7 to 10 years, and it hadn't been done. Yeah, it's crazy. Expedition 33 OST lives rent-free in my head. Do you know what lives rent-free in my head? And every time somebody plays it in our chat, it fucking gives me the weirdest feeling, and that's the menu music from Hogwarts. I love it. I don't just love it.
It was great.
It is, I don't know what it is. I don't even remember the cadence or beat or tempo or anything till that it plays. And I hear it, and I'll do that thing where you're typing, you'll be like, wait, what? Far Cry 5's main theme music. I'll hear somebody, I'll be watching somebody stream it, and most of the time, I'm just hoping they got the music on so I can hear that fucking music pop up and just be like, oh, dude, it's so good.
Yeah, we're a broken record about some of these guys, but it's just, I mean, some are so iconic that, but I agree, Expedition 33, a big part of the experience was the music. You know, they had incredible music.
And the reason why I'm happy about that one too is that I feel like I heard more people who don't track music talk about Expedition.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. What else we got? Oh, shit.
Last question here from Gaming Guitar Alejandro.
You're good? Sorry.
What moments in gaming have left you feeling super hyped or like a badass from playing really well? Recently, it was from playing Expedition 33 and doing well against a boss people online struggled with. He's probably talking about Simon.
Or charms.
Yeah. Oh God, the charms. Yeah.
Anyway.
Just never need to see that mechanic again.
Never. I don't like charm in any game, let alone that one.
Nope.
So what game have we? So game?
You were maybe like feeling like a badass from playing really well. So like, I think maybe for you, Doom, you were just popping off with like max speed and just being a demon in that game.
Yeah. Weirdly, not a flex. I didn't feel like it was that. I wanted people to play it. I didn't feel as much like, oh my God, I can play it. In fact, I felt for that particular game that most people who didn't play it fast could have probably played it faster and would have enjoyed it more. But yeah, I would say that game, yeah, you definitely feel really good in that game when you bounce you reflect something back at somebody and you're playing at 200% speed. That shit feels good. Like,
yeah.
And it wasn't slow for once, because the honest truth is I will get really bored in, let's say, a Call of Duty multiplayer because there's a quarter of a second where somebody isn't shooting at me. Even Call of Duty is slow. So when you play Doom, I'm saying, so the ability to do that is great. I wish more games let you speed them up. Injustice was another one. You like to learn how to play, crank it up to 8 times and just watch them fight, and your brain is motor set. You go back in, everything feels slow, and you do better. What about you? What's a game that you got done? You have to be getting that from League of Legends. League of Legends, right?
100%. When I play well in League, it feels absolutely amazing. Doesn't mean it's also not linked to winning the game, because I could lose the game, but if I feel like I played out of my mind, that's an incredible feeling.
Yeah.
I get that as well when I see my improvement in a game that's challenging. So, it could be one of these games like Sekiro or Night Rain, where maybe there's a tough boss that you struggled with initially, and then you see that now you no longer do, and it's only linked to your skill, because it's not like you have some different gear or you grinded. No, you just, you're actually better at the game.
Right.
And that's really rewarding to see.
I'm trying to think if there's other ones. Arma. Fighting games. Virtual, Halo I was pretty good at. But yeah, I'm trying to think of a game that made me feel... I think the game makes you know that you're supposed to get through it. So I don't feel like that I'm good, but I will say that games that made me go, wow, I got through this as the full thing, not just the end, would be the Horseman boss in Sekiro. The guy who's like, I'm Emperor, fucking fuck you.
It's like, okay, I got.
And for a game that celebrated quiet a lot of the time, and more serene, when you come out and this dude is like telling the world that he's coming to kick your ass, I remember just going like, Jesus, like they nailed that. I mean, it was one of the best moments in game I've had in years, where I remember him coming out and just being like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why is he screaming? Because it was loud. You were just like, what's happening? Why is he screaming? Because I've been silent and stealthy. And he's like, I see you, bitch. And I'm coming for you. And I was just like, oh, this is the greatest. And beating him felt really good.
Oh, yeah, man. That really is the way to enter a room, by the way. You just have to scream your name, as loud as you can.
As long as everybody else isn't screaming. I think that's why it worked in Sekiro. Is that if it was a loud game, the contrast. Yeah, they celebrated quiet and not silence. They celebrate quiet. And so when you do have this character that, and let's be honest, almost all Asian cinema, Asian video games, Asian-inspired video games celebrate the more serene, right? It's always about like the character who, by the way, which is not even as historically accurate as people think, but whatever. We're not going to get it. But, this guy's going to sit and stare at these cherry blossom trees for 16 fucking hours while he shits himself. And you're like, yes, this is perfect. That's still replicated in that game, but then occasionally a dude just comes out and he's like, I'm gonna fuck you up, and he yells at
and me. I don't know about you, but when I killed him, I was like, saluting and paying my respects. I was like,
I don't get that into games, man. That's role playing. I don't know why.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm not dissing on you. There's no, I don't, I don't, for whatever reason, I don't get that into, well, I celebrated in the way like you said, I didn't salute him or didn't go like a good fight, but I felt good about doing it myself. Because he's a digital character, so I wasn't like I could salute the developer, not him. I do love the idea of you being like fucking burning some incense candles at night, in respect for him. And I'm like, dude, it's a
just
video.
like do a little meditation in his honor. Yeah. Right there.
I don't think I've ever been that into a game. I'm trying to think of like, yeah, no. Was that the last question we had?
That's the last we got for today.
Oh, man. What else do we got? Anything before we wrap it up? It is. Dude, what is it like over there temperature-wise? Because here it is, we have like weather warnings and temperature warnings and fucking heat wave warnings and armadillo warnings. Maybe not that, but it's just constant.
Okay.
It's just
I was going to call you out
so
on
bad, man. It's so uncomfortable lately. It's just always hot.
This year has been very hot here in the UK.
Do you have AC? You don't have AC, right? You guys don't.
I do actually. I invested into one, but it's different, man, because you can't really have the external
off your window,
units like most of you guys have. So it has to be either out of your window where you just put something there, or we have these water loop based ACs.
They're humid.
That are all internal.
Yeah.
That's what I have. And it,
But does it work?
Yeah, it's not perfect. Yeah, it works pretty well.
Okay.
But of course, it's not bringing in new air from outside.
Yeah.
So it won't do that for you. So obviously you don't want to spend a full damn day with the same air. It works pretty well. But yeah, man, here it's rough and they're expensive as hell.
Right.
So it's just
here
difficult.
we have the rolling units. I have window ones too, but we have the rolling unit where all that goes into the window is this thing, and you do have to build a thing to make sure the window is contained. But I've got really good at it after 25 odd years of trying to not die in third-story apartments or whatever. So I have like the right aluminum tape to be reflective on what side. I've got really good at building them. But I remember talking to, I think it might have been Sleeve, but talking to him about like the idea of just not having AC, not it being a general thing. And I'll sit here and bitch that the AC is not working great, but at least I still have something sucking in the air from inside, removing it outside, and at the same time cooling down a little bit. So the idea of the loop, we call them swamp heaters here. So there's two reasons. One, there's water inside. That cooling loop is supposed to cool you, but also because it feels like a fucking swamp when you run one for too long because they're just recirculating the same BO stank.
Yeah.
Into your house. But it's better than nothing. Also a fan. I always tell people, I'm like, dude, a fan works in and of itself. It doesn't matter because, it's still going to dry. It's still going to cause evaporation and drying and stuff like that. The other
I'm going to be honest.
Oh, go ahead.
Just saying, I live alone, so it works pretty well for me.
Right.
If it was like 2-3 people living with the same air, probably not as great.
Putting off 1,000 BTUs per person as well, because each person.
Hence
so let me give you an idea. Dogs, man. You'll get into the bedroom and it'll be nice and brisk. You got the AMD system running at full speed, rendering videos. Doesn't matter. Wife gets home. Doesn't matter. PC's on, monitors on. No worries. But you get 3 dogs in here panting. And I am telling you, I can watch the CPU because I have a CPU sensor on the inside and then I have one on the outside because I like to bitch about the heat in the house.
Yeah.
That's the only reason it's on this PC. But I'll turn it on and you can just watch it going when the dogs come in because they're in coats. They're in fur coats. They're basically just breathing out hot air all day long.
And they're big, right? And your dogs are,
yeah, one's
aren't they?
85, the other one's like 65 and 70. So they're not
that
small.
That is a massive dog, dude.
It's like some children, and then they're running around, so they'll come in, and they're just exhausting super hot air into that. And I'm not lying. I have to, like last night, it got so hot. And the other thing I did, I don't know if you have these. When I worked at HP, there were these things that they're floor fans, but they look like turbines, but they have only a small slat at the bottom, and they're for drying carpet when you clean carpet. But if you buy one, they also work amazingly well for circulating air. You can put them up because they're such a small slat, the pressure's high. So I bought one for it wasn't expensive. It was like $45. That thing alone improves the quality of life in a house tenfold, more sometimes than the AC, because an AC blows air ACs don't have a lot of pressure putting out because of what they're doing. So AC will be like, but that floor fan, man, you put it on the AC, suddenly the entire goddamn house is cool because the AC is that fan is jetting air across the entire room, and it feels so good. It was one of the best purchases I've ever made. Was just the floor, like almost, I guess it probably is called a carpet drying fan. But like I remember being in an office in HP, there was an AC in the office and it was hot, and the guy was cleaning the carpets and he put one in within like 5 minutes. I was like, what the fuck? This thing's like magic. And I remember noting it going, because I get hot easy, man. And you'll be in your house and things will just get, uncomfortable at night because it always gets hotter right up until the sun goes down. Pretty soon, just when you're trying to go to sleep, it's like 105 degrees in your house. Do you put it in your room or do you have it in the living room?
No, a living space where I have my PC and everything.
I put mine, I have one in each because I can't stand the idea of sleeping without it. Abbreviated review says, here, go ahead. Go for it.
Just saying, gets pretty cool at night. So it's not that bad. It's mostly during the evening, like during the day. But then like night itself is quite cool.
So normally it does here, but I don't know what's going on this year. Well, I mean, I know what's going on. Obviously, we have made an impact.
You got a pocket of just hot.
Yeah.
Air.
But what we have even worse. Occasionally in the last couple nights, not these last couple nights, but in this last year, the temperature hasn't gone down at night. So it's been really high. So there's no time to cool off. There's ways to cool off. Put water on your roof, which causes evaporation. You can drop the temperature in your house a little bit, especially if your house is holding on heat, which I did learn and does work, like verified, which was pretty crazy. Obviously, it would work. I hadn't thought about it. But the guy who came and put the roof on was telling me, he's like, hey, you could try this. But overall, usually I just have to be like, well, tonight's going to be a warm one. And then sleeping's miserable. I don't sleep. I need it really, really cool when I go to sleep. Like, the guy yesterday, we were all in chat and we were talking about heat, and it being uncomfortable. And I was like, wouldn't it be cool if you could control and have just the world be an average temp? And they were like, yeah, man, if it was like 70, I'd be fine. I was like, what the fuck world do you guys live in? I'm talking 45 tops. Like, well, I can put on clothes to keep warm, but they were like 70. They're like, yeah, if it was a constant 70 in my house or whatever. And I was like, if it was 70 in my house constantly, I would not own the house. I would move out. That is way too fucking hot for me.
Dude, 45 is like
that's
7 degrees Celsius.
Yeah,
that is
cold. When people come over to play D&D, usually the AC is on in the winter and they're in coats. And I'm like, yeah, this is the way to do it. I like it cold. But I'm not saying, I'm saying 70's high though, right? Can we agree on that? Ignore me wanting it cold. 70 degrees Fahrenheit constantly in your house, that seems like old person temperature. Like where old people start to like the house really warm and uncomfortable, like the grave. I'm just joking.
I think that's pretty average. 20. So that's about 21 degrees.
That's here. Rough in a house. That if you had that all the time. You'd be okay with 21 degrees all the time in your house. Wow.
I think that's usually what I have here.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I couldn't handle that, man. That's nuts. Do you sleep? Okay, so let's do some personal stuff before you go. Do you sleep boxers, pajamas? Don't tell me if it's nude.
Okay, so I've actually changed this recently because I found my room was way too hot and that was screwing up with my sleep. So I have now the room at around 20 degrees. So it's around 70, maybe a 70, bit below.
A little cooler,
yeah. And with pajamas. So some days with like bottom and top, some days just like trousers, trousers. And your blanket, your duvet or whatever. It's like a summer duvet. And that's been perfect because then the balance is like, I got to make sure that I would be cold out of the covers.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
But but I'm nice and comfy in them.
In the covers.
That gives me much better sleep than having like a warmer room and then maybe like no clothes or whatever.
Yeah. So I'm boxers and a sheet for my blanket. I never use a blanket.
Like a thin.
Yeah, I like the sheet. Basically, it's as thin as a normal sheet. It's what's called a top sheet here. There's no curved covers.
Yeah,
There's no elastic, but it's like what normal people would probably sleep on or have under a blanket. And then my wife is like fucking,
the duvet. Yeah.
Dude, this shit, it looks like a fucking 17 pizza pies stacked together and so fucking hot and even leaning against it. So I'll be with my sheet and just light. So if I'm attacked, I can get out and get to my swords quick. I'm just joking. But I'm like, I don't like weight on me when I'm sleeping. So like that super, and even leaning against the blanket is too hot for me. So like I'll lean against the blanket that she's on. And after a while, I'm like, okay, that's too fucking much. And also I'll be on the edge of the bed, just happy as a clam, which is that little sheet. It's so nice. But who knows?
See, I have the opposite. I like the weight of it.
Oh, you do?
Top.
No, a lot of people do. A lot of people love weighted blankets too for sleep.
But I also feel like if you don't sleep with anything on top, like no sheet or no, you are probably just a psychopath.
You're a psychopath.
Because you have the, right?
Yeah. Unless it's super duper hot one time, I think no sheet would be hard to regulate because your entire bottom half being on something and then your entire top, there's no thermal stopping of that air at all. I feel like that would be hard to be comfortable for a long period of time. But yeah, when it's super hot, I definitely do. I hate it.
You have this feeling of being like unprotected. You know, I don't know, like there's some monsters gonna walk into your room.
I will agree.
No, just me?
I don't know. No, I don't know if the term is unprotected. The term is
like sheltered, maybe like
covered. I do agree with you.
Yeah.
Like there is something about okay, so this might also be because I lived on the Pacific coast and we had the windows open a lot, so you did get occasional mosquitoes or whatever. And so like maybe just also trying to protect from like the random mosquito bite or something. I'm trying to think if that's why. But I agree with you 100%. If I didn't agree with you, I wouldn't use the sheet. And I still do on hot days because I think a sheet also feels good when it's hot. Because the sheet will be cool. And you'll be like, and it feels like it's nice and like nice and cool. I love that kind of feel. But it's ridiculous, man. I mean, it's been miserable here. Like it has not been fun at all. We have a little baby swimming pool in the back for the dogs. Admittedly, I've gone back.
Can you get in there? No,
dude. So listen to this. 5 years ago, when Ming was still alive, he was a water dog. He would, if he saw a puddle, he'd get that thing where it's like the best toy in the world. So prior to him passing, he was getting a little stovey. He was getting a little like he couldn't move as well. I didn't know they existed, man. I legit had no clue you could do this, but I bought a massive, unbelievably huge backyard swimming pool that was just inflatable. I didn't know they existed because I we see the YouTubes now where somebody will fucking fall on the side and break it. It's that big. So we got this massive thing and I built him a walk-up because he couldn't jump anymore. We built a walk-up, and I thought, he probably won't use it. That fucker instantly was like, bitch, yes. And so we sat back there. He swam circles around me. I mean, it was big enough to, like, you could get a push. It was huge, dude. It was not cheap, but it was super long. That thing lasted for ages. It was one of the best summer, like, I guess it's probably what families on a block might buy if they have kids coming over, but like for me, it was just me and the dogs. And so there would be times where I'd do a video and it'd be too hot in here, hit the render, talk to you guys for a little while. Because I did it after the Friday podcast sometimes. I would just go out there, dunk your head down and just for like 4 or 5 hours, listen to audiobooks and just in the water.
That's awesome.
Amazing therapy for the soul, man. It was a fan. Oh, also one of the best feelings in the world before we go, putting your head underwater and hearing the sound. I don't know why I love. Some people say it's because it reminds you of being in the womb. I don't know, but I do love the sound of being underwater and just
kind of like in Fringe, in the show Fringe, when they have the suspension.
It's exactly right. When she gets in and that shuts and you hear that, it's such a good thing. All right, Tell them what you're streaming. If you're streaming anything tomorrow, we'll let them out of here.
Good stuff. So tomorrow, my plan is to stream some League plus a little bit of Mafia, the Old Country. Getting into that tomorrow.
All right. And tomorrow I'll be streaming on Only Beards. Just me and the beard, nothing else. Completely naked. So you guys can check me out there if you guys
just
want.
Full oil.
Beard oil. Yeah, just dripping with oil. Yeah, it smells like pine or whatever those fucking people use. But anyway, no, I am still doing reviews, if you're wondering. It has been hell getting code. I don't quite know why. I don't think it's me. Obviously, we saw with Mafia, they were insanely restrictive, but I am working on that and some other projects, but I'm not going to promise anything on that. But yes, I am getting back into reviews, trying very hard to get back into that. I want to say thanks to everybody. And also tell you guys, and I'll be on Asa's podcast tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific time, Asa. Remind me if it's... it's 11 a.m. Pacific time. I'll be on Gaming Arcadia with those guys and hanging out and talking about games. I do for sure have that on my schedule. That'll be fun to do. So you'll be able to see me there as well. If you go on Twitter, you can see the repost of that. It's already live. Not live. What do they call it? Where they... premiered, I guess.
Premiere, yeah.
But yeah, we'll be talking about 11. Yeah. So it'll be at 11 o'clock. We'll be talking about games and shit like that. I do just want to say thank you to everybody, whether you're a patron or not, whether you're a fan of us, whether you're here to watch Johnny and you hate me, it's okay to be wrong in life. But no, I do want to tell you guys, keep your head up because I've been getting a lot of DMs from people who seem down or whatever. I understand. Go find something you like to do. And if that means running away and not talking about games for a while, maybe you should do that because I feel like people get too stoved up in that. They get too caught up. But don't do it until after 2 p.m. tomorrow because that's when I'll be done with the podcast. If you want to leave games and not talk about it anymore, do it after 2. Peace out, everybody. Hope you enjoy the rest of your week. It's all about Johnny's hat. How do I end the stream? Oh, there we go. Bye. I forgot how to end the stream.